Wow, this is an excellent display here from Rashi. Very good job.
So an chain unending. Oh, unending gonna pop the
Wait, what? You ever seen a plane that big, Bradley?
Arcanine Magician.
Okay, I haven't seen this one in a while. Ooh la la, baguette.
Good evening, everyone. This is Taaha coming to you live from Duel Links Team Wars Twitch channel. With me today, I have AndyTsang joining me. Andy, what's going on?
What's up, man? I'm happy to be here.
All right,
Hype
game
ass word.
game one starting right off the bat. We got
I'm
K and
ready already.
Keduban, Neo versus Tier 0. With the chat in the info box, you guys wanted that. We gave it to you. That's how we roll. So it looks like we have Neos from K. Neo opening up with Neos invoked. Pretty solid turn one. Well, only one set, but he has the Neos fusion with a set. Maybe not the best turn one, but definitely not a brick.
Looks
you
like Shira from the other side. Maybe.
No, it's Karakuri. We definitely missed
wow.
the restart delay.
Yeah.
And so that's a true nade right off the bat. I mean, Andy, this could be game right here.
Well, all right. So one of the things is that Neos is probably one of the decks that could potentially like hold a turn against Karakuri without back. Like they can get true-nated and still survive, but it depends a lot on like the strength. Like they can also just lose, because like right here he can flip up the Alistair and then Gold Dust over it, and that would be game. Or if he can, but if he doesn't, then he can only. It's only I think like 28 or something. So or maybe 38. My math's kind of, but like it's not game is the essential part.
Right, and I think him setting that card is the big reason for it not being game. He fully realized that he was in a position to perhaps lose the game if he didn't set that card. Whether or not it's an Alistair, we don't know 100%. It could be another Volcanic Shell, but that Volcanic Shell, unless, like you said, a very unorthodox play with Econ or Gold Dust, it would be pretty hard for him to lose here. But
Yeah.
even if Neos survives this turn, it's going to be pretty tough for him to come back. Only one back row that we saw set from him.
Well, he didn't search the trap, so if he doesn't have any, if he can't kill him and he doesn't have an actual interruption, then he'll be able to summon 2 Purgatrios, which will be really strong.
Right. He's going for the typical, expected Gamma Oil combo to climb from 5 to 8.
So if he's drawing a card, then it's really not game because he won't be able to flip up the set monster, which.
Right.
But he could be able to win just with advantage. Like you can see he has triple back row now. That Neos looks like it's probably surviving.
Right.
It's hard to say for sure because yeah, it's up to them whether or not they want to crash.
Oh wow.
Personally, I think.
Wait, did you notice that?
I think I might crash.
Did you notice that? No
He didn't
invocation.
search.
He has it in
Yeah,
his
so
hand.
it's probably in the hand. It's already in the hand. Yeah.
Right.
That's interesting then. I might not have set the Alistair then, right?
Yeah, the risk was pretty high in that instance.
Because if you leave it in the hand, then you can just discard. Yeah.
Right.
But you
It
can
would have
just
been the
discard
same
it
outcome,
probably.
except he would have a 3,600 Neos.
Yeah. And then like you can only a gold dust one monster anyways. So.
Right. That's also true. Yeah, the play that you mentioned, using Beret to flip up the Alistair to attack mode would have definitely been troublesome for K had he fallen trap to that. But He did
Well,
go with this play.
Yeah, he got to draw an extra card off of it, which is really important.
That's true.
He could have also just drawn the invocation. I wasn't really paying attention to which card he drew. But if that's the case, then that's just... Oh no, because he attacked into our nose turn. So yeah, he
Right.
should have probably left the invocation in hand.
Right.
I guess like Herald is like kind of a thing, but not like it's definitely not the popular choice in Karakuri. So I don't think I would play around Herald at the moment until like I see it.
Right. Especially not in the opener.
Yeah, I mean you just don't have like the thing about like Team Wars is like outside of the starting decks, like later on when you're going into a matchup, you kind of have a really good idea of like what kind of text your opponent's playing. Because even if like your previous teammate or your previous life already lost, they probably like played it out to like get information and try to help you as much as possible.
Okay, so he uses the trap on the Alistair there to prevent the double invocation play, but he still has to survive this Purgatrio here, which is going to clear his board if he has no answer for it. Now he has the trap in the grave, so he can use that to put the Purgatrio in defense, and that's exactly what he's going to do to survive this. Oh wait,
He's putting the so he wants to draw.
does he have an offerings?
Wait,
Is that, it had to be a misclick.
yeah. No, I mean,
Wayne, thank you so much for the
Yeah.
subscription. Oh,
but he's
no, that's not game.
No, I mean, yeah, it's not game, and it's also like, why didn't he do it earlier, right?
I think that was a misclick.
Yeah, I'm not seeing like what advantage there is to doing that. Also, if he had Gold Dust, he could have just flipped up. Like he went for the draw, by switching his monster to attack. He could have just flipped up the Alistair and then Gold Dusted over it.
Well, no, he might have drawn the gold dust from the +1. Maybe that's how he got the gold dust. I want to assume
Yeah.
that was the case because
Okay,
it was crystal clear lethal otherwise
Mhm.
on turn 2. So we'll make the assumption that it was a rip off the top. But he does have another merchant that he got last turn from the level 5, and as
I mean,
expected.
that merchant. Well, this is the card he drew for turn, so he has another merchant.
Oh, I think
He's
it
got
was from
two.
the middle. If the three, I think it was from the middle, not from the right.
Alright.
You might be right. Yeah. Well, actually,
Yeah, it's hard
so
to say.
so you're saying that if it was the card he just drew, then this is another merchant in hand.
Yeah, but I
His
guess
last
he won't
one.
appreciate-
Oh, he has a cash.
Maybe I was wrong. Dang. Oh. Yeah, so that probably means I'm right because there's no way he wouldn't search for merchant.
Right. No, you're probably right. I mean, he's forcing game here. He's forcing game here.
Well, I mean, the thing is like, it all depends on what the back row is. If the back row is nothing, if the back,
Oh.
if it's karma.
Yikes. Actual yikes. I mean, this, Andy, we got to go back and really analyze this game a little bit. This was definitely a game that I think Keruban had in the bag.
Well, I mean, okay, like even if he drew the gold dust off the thing and it wasn't game anymore, like he could have at least he messed up with the trap too, right? Like,
Right.
yeah.
We're assuming it was either a misclick, NA math, which that's not possible because he's not NA. I mean, he needs a drowning right here.
Okay. Sure, drowning.
Yeah, drowning.
He definitely has that. Yeah, definitely has that.
Yeah, no, I said he needs it.
I mean, maybe WAD. I don't like it's Japan, right? Like they could play anything.
It's Japan.
No, I'm serious. Like they play like
Oh, he's
they'll be playing
Okay,
like one
okay.
Machine Angel Ritual, one enemy controller, but they'll always mill the Machine Angel Ritual.
dude.
draw the
Imagine if he
enemy
has
controller.
Suikaribo. He doesn't die to a Suikaribo. Okay, he
Yeah.
did. Okay.
Like I messaged Soon. I was like, Soon, like, can I see your Witchcrafter list? This was like months ago. He messaged me the list. It's one Machine Angel Ritual, one enemy controller. They all do this. Like they'll never mill the enemy controller and draw the Machine Angel Ritual. That'll never happen.
Well, now that is a +1 on the board for tier 0K, winning that duel
Yeah.
with the Neos Invoke deck, and we did briefly mention this in the previous, during the previous duel, that this was definitely a game that maybe slipped out of Neo's hand, but definitely it was.
I'm trying to think for sure if
The goal does draw. I mean, it was lethal for sure if he had it. So it only makes sense that he drew it off the top and he just had
the
an
thing is,
honest
like,
misplay.
even if he just didn't use the trap and he just gold dusted all, like he would still have two synchros, and then both the synchros attack into the Alistair. He can only karma cut one of them and he'll die, right?
Right.
So
All right. Well, the next duel
yeah.
is starting, so let's get in there.
Or you switch the beret back into attack, you trigger the mandatory effect of Beredo, he Providences, but then you can still make another synchro with the merchant. So yeah, I'm not seeing it.
Well, what we are seeing now is a Odeon coming in to the
Yeah, not
gauntlet,
rebooting.
and it's 20 cards. What's your guess on this, man? It has to be E-Sabers, right?
Yeah, I think so too.
If it was more, maybe we could argue some other decks.
I mean, the only other deck using Endless Trap Hell right now is probably Crystron's. I've seen that a little bit, but that's not extremely popular either.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say Goikis because I have seen ETH with Goikis. Gokis.
That's what I said, Goikis.
We'll forget that happened, but we're not gonna forget this turn one from K. Pretty solid. I mean, keeper, Neos, and okay, only one back
Yeah.
row. Not the best, but
one of the advantages of playing, because one of the strengths of Element Saber is like maybe their stalling ability.
right.
So when you're playing Endless Trap Hell, you're able to maintain the consistency of 20 cards, but you don't give up like the ability to win with deck out. So I can see a 20 card version of Element Saber working. It's looking like he didn't open that well though.
Definitely not. I'm assuming that these are all 4 back row cards because it is taking him a while to decide what he wants to set. And that could... Okay, so he's only setting 2 cards, and he set a monster card, which we're assuming to be an Element Saber monster if this is Element Sabers.
I think it's more so that he's checking delays.
Okay, yeah,
Like,
that's a very good point as well. Alright, Neos attacking in, trying to get that effect to get a second Neos fusion.
I mean, it might not even be Element Saber because this is looking kind of sus, not gonna lie.
Oh, it is Gokis! And with a Prismatic Tretch.
I mean, that's still not confirmed to be Gokis.
Oh, come on, dude.
Endless Trap Hell. No, Endless Trap Hell also uses.
Yeah,
Treacherous.
that's true actually. That's true.
That's one of the advantages of Endless Trap Hell Element Saber over Destiny Draw.
Well, that's a dead Tretch. Oh no, it's
Not
not.
anymore.
Not anymore. It is Gokis.
Oh wow. Okay.
Wow, Neo, oh, dude, this is very typical of Neo, right? We've seen last season they have had in history very unorthodox opening decks, and this has worked on plenty of teams because they don't expect something like this. Teams that are very focused on the planning side definitely do lose their guard when they see decks like this.
Here's the thing, right? Like for any type of meta, the reason why decks are meta is because they're like better, right? But just because they're better, like the deck is better, doesn't mean that the player who pilots it is better than like another player. So like if that player isn't familiar with the matchup, then like the surprise factor can make that a bad matchup.
Yeah,
Whereas,
exactly. And I mean, I don't know Gokis too well, but correct me if I'm wrong. It doesn't look like he has too many back row cards in his hand. They might be monsters, right?
I think they're monsters because think about it. He summoned Suplex. He activated the effect of Suplex, which might even have been a misplay, right?
Right.
Because you can see that he didn't like he Providenced it, and then he added Rescorpio. So that means that the 2 cards in his hands are guaranteed monsters because one of them is the monster that he was going to summon off the Suplex, and the second one was the Rescorpio.
Exactly.
And we know the card that he has set is Treacherous Trap Hole from the Endless Trap Hole. So we actually have all the information on his hand. If I had to guess, I would say the card in his hand is probably another Suprex, just because I think that if he opened like Suprex and another monster, why wouldn't he have summoned the monster with Suprex, right?
Right, exactly. And so we do have.
I'm not sure actually.
Well, we do have some time as Kay is thinking here, whether or not what this matchup is like actually. It's not a very common deck, Goki's.
I mean, this is very bad for K because he actually just doesn't have a monster.
Right,
Like he added the shell, he switched the shell back. Otherwise, he would have set it, right?
right.
And then he drew into the card he set, which means that the 2 cards in his hand are probably not like they're obviously discard like cards that he's going to discard. So yeah, the card in his hand is probably not.
Well, he does
I
have
don't know.
he has one Neos Fusion in hand. We know that much. And the other card in his hand was a volcanic shell. He switcherooed into a shell.
Probably maybe he switched with the Neos Fusion.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
He did switcheroo the Neo Fusion. Very interesting. Letting go of the Cosmic Cyclone there. He's on full top deck mode right now. A keeper or an Alistair is essentially what he needs here.
That might have been a mistake. I understand why he switched it because he's thinking that he could top deck a keeper and then search the Neos Fusion back. But since he doesn't have cards in hand, he can't do that. This is yeah. I mean, he has like he could top deck Alistair, I guess. Then like the middle stretch is dead, and the other back row might be dead too. That's really the only thing I can think about.
Well, he is thinking hard here, Kay. Like I said, a keeper and Alistair. In fact, a keeper would be pretty bad here because we know he has a Tretch. So an Alistair would really only be the saving grace for Kay. But
I mean, keeper could hold a turn, and then he can draw Alistair the following turn.
right, he wouldn't just use the effect. Okay, so he does have keeper, but he can't use the effect here,
Well,
and
he
he's just
can
gonna
use-
attack.
He could use the other effect, but the reason why he's not using it is because he knows that the opponent has treacherous trapple.
Right, right. And so his plan right here is just to poke as long as he can. But we do know he has monsters in hand, as we discussed earlier.
I mean, it's not guaranteed. It could be like a Sphere Kuriboh.
Okay, okay. Well, that's still a monster.
Because he's kept this card in his hand for a very long time, and the card he has set is the one he drew. I assume that's Twist Cobra because it makes a lot of sense, and then that would also tell me that the card in his hand is probably not a monster. Not a monster.
Prime in the chat for a free sub.
I'm very curious what the mystery card in his hand is now. Maybe like Lava Golem.
Right here,
He would have used. Yeah, I'm not sure.
packing into the set.
Probably Twist Cobra.
Yeah. So he's gonna get a effect there,
So not
adding.
using the Tretch is kind of weird considering that would have been game, right?
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't have to be destroyed by battle. Big sus moment here. The pressure is very high for both of the
Yeah,
players.
so the card in his hand was a monster. It was Twist Cobra. He was holding it the entire time. I guess playing around Providence on turn 1.
Well, I mean, this is game as well, right here.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
you're
without the
completely
Tretch.
right. The Tretch.
I mean, he was gonna use it anyways. Then.
There's some disrespect action going on right now. I don't know if he's really in a position to be disrespecting his opponent, considering that he just missed lethal the previous turn.
The previous.
All jokes aside, he's gonna be now evening it up 1-1.
Yeah,
We got a match here, folks.
definitely. Interesting start for Neos. I've actually seen Neos do pretty well. My team didn't do well with it, but like the very first war, I think it won like 3 games. So I'm seeing like it just seems like a very like safe start because I think like Karakuri is a deck that's on the minds of a lot of people right now. So
Definitely.
like Neos is the deck that can kind of handle other like it can kind of like control some of the other decks, but at the same time it also has the ability to not like insta lose to a True Nade, which is a problem with a lot of other control decks, at least before the KC Cup. I think
So-
a lot of control decks since then have adapted.
We did see Neos as the first deck for Tier 0, and we're seeing a Kiza right now. My guess would be that it's likely going to be a Karakuri. We are going to see that restart delay as well. So
Yeah.
the combo they opened with is Neos and Karakuri. What are your thoughts on that opening combo, Andy?
I think it makes a lot of sense. We opened that combo too, even though we went 0-2 with it. The one of the like it's no secret that like one of the biggest weaknesses of Neos is that Witchcrafter matchup, right? Like you play the Karma Cut to out it, but they play so much removal, and your monsters really don't have any your monsters don't really have any way to deal with Veer. just because like Neos can't run it over, Purg gets negated, and there's really nothing else, right?
Right.
So being able to pair it with a deck like Karakuri, which has a generally favorable Witchcrafter matchup, is smart.
So I think he's just gonna go 7-5 here and get the trap later. Oh, God, Prismatic Ninishi.
Yeah,
I'm jealous.
usually against. It really depends on the strength of the hand. Like if I already have True Nade in this matchup, I probably won't go for the full combo. At least like that's what I'm thinking right now.
Right. He
Because
did go for Gamma
obviously,
though.
I don't think. Yeah, he's going to go for it. I don't.
Yeah,
I'm
so
not
he has a
thinking about. Yeah. I don't think about the Goki matchup all the time or anything. But like,
So
if I were him, I probably would have. I probably wouldn't want to overcommit to the board just because we have seen the Tretch, we have seen the Ballista, all this removal that can be chained to something like True Nade. So I
exactly.
would prefer to just have a combination of like a board that can hold a turn and maybe some interruption, and then on the following turn I can like True Nade him, and then he'll chain everything there, but then I can re-establish a board.
So here's what I'm trying to figure out, right? I think the points you mentioned are very important. That he has so much disruption, the Karma Cuts, the Treacherous. I'm almost wondering if it would have been better, as you kind of implied, I think, that he just went and ended up on 7 and 5 and perhaps searched the trap. Because he was going to have a Gamma.
Especially since he has the cash in hand.
Yeah.
I definitely think so. Because that means that he has another merchant. And did he add? Yeah, he added back. He has merchant and
no back
5
row
in hand. Just well, I mean, yeah, I think that's totally fine. Like if I had True Nade, I probably wouldn't set it either, just because I don't want them randomly ballistaing it, right?
Right.
Like here you could get needle sealing out of nowhere, like, and then you don't have like I don't know how much. Maybe he's playing 2 Gamma Oil, but if he's not, then it's really bad.
We're about to find out whether or not he has a True Nade very, very shortly here.
Mm-hmm. He's
gonna
letting him get the draw, which I think is probably correct. Just because he did commit the Gamma Oil, it's hard to. I don't know. It's actually. He could probably still die just because he still does have the Gold Dust, and he has he has level 5 in Merchant, so he can easily like search the Gold Dust and then make a Synchro play. You already know he has True Nade.
There is the True Nade, not off the top, but as you said, the bad aim is right there, and we might get a chain Tretch here too. Okay, Karma Cut.
I don't think.
You don't think what?
So if he was going to Karma Cut, I think he definitely should have Karma Cut the level 8 just to like deny him the draw.
Oh.
Um.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's at least my.
Karma Cuts the Ninishi. Gets both.
I think that's a mistake. I think. Because one of the things about Ninishi is that it's not like the deck only plays 1 level 8, so it's really like it doesn't really go into anything. He already committed level 5, right? So if you just bad aimed the burrito and just let the Karma Cut go back to the hand, it doesn't really go in, like his board can't really go anywhere from there unless he makes like a death spot.
He has a Prismatic Merchant too. Hello?
Yeah.
And how often do you see a Ninishi Prismatic and a Merchant Prismatic just...
I remember I was like back in season 5, I was really jealous of Jason because he had a Prismatic Dawn Knight and a Prismatic Stone. So he would always like send the Prismatic Stone with the Prismatic Dawn Knight. Super tilting.
This is game right here, unless I'm missing something.
Oh, it's definitely game, yeah.
Now the question is, if he Karma Cutted the beret, it was still gonna be game.
No, I think I was saying you hold the Karma Cut.
Oh, okay. Well, it was gonna be game then.
No, because if you hold the Karma Cut, you leave the Komachi and the beret on the field. Then you hope that you can clog him, right?
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. That's a good point, actually. So, K going up 2-1, giving his team the very, very highly esteemed 2-1 lead, counterpick advantage for the beginning of this war. We did see some shaky stuff from Ketsuban during this war. Now we don't have his full perspective. That first game, we don't know whether or not he misclicked or not, whether or not he ripped Gold Dust off of the burrito effect. What we do know is that Kokis, and I need to stop that. Gokis and Karakuri and Gokis in that order was their opening combo. We have a minute now to assess that idea. Do you have any comments on that type of combo?
What was the first deck? It was Karakuri into Goki.
Yeah.
Mm, I imagine so. Karakuri's weakest matchups, or the decks that I expect people to counter them with, are probably maybe like 30 card Shiranui, Triamid, the two decks that like got first and second KC Cup, as well as maybe Element Saber. That's what I would be thinking of right away.
Right.
I think in that regard, I don't know if Goki is a good call or Goiki.
Well, we are going into the third duel now, and we see E-Sabers being sent into the Karakuri. Andy,
And that's
you know how I feel about this matchup, and I know how you feel about this matchup. But to share to the chat, we are not very convinced about that choice.
I talked with some other players about this matchup where like, on paper, like you have like the tools to interrupt Karakuri through a Trunade with Palace and Kaliga. The problem is if you go second into this board, it's really hard to deal with because they search the in, which can negate Alistair or Malehu, like the first flip down. And on the following turn, you can flip down another card, but they have Beret, so they can like flip the card back up. Makes it really difficult to play around.
Exactly.
He's going for the full combo again, which
if he doesn't have the trap, it's definitely the wrong play.
yeah, I agree with that. Even though like the hand, it has to be very specific to beat like the full board. I think that if you just don't commit and you get the trap, then like you can beat it with anything. Then like they can't beat it at all. Is what I'm saying.
Right. I do think there's no way he doesn't have the trap here. I mean,
Well, he doesn't need to have the trap. He can also have like an offering, so they do like as long as
fair.
there's some type of like interruption. I think it's fine to go for this combo because in the end, like you don't really get punished by it, right? Like it's not like you're gonna get hit by a Tretch or something.
Well, double perg here would be.
Yeah, I'm saying that like if you already have like
Okay.
offerings to the doomed or like the trap, then it's fine. Otherwise, I would probably prioritize getting to it.
Fair
The other
enough.
problem is if they're playing needle sealing, that could also be a really big problem, like a really big issue with committing to the full board.
Yeah, I do. I have seen that a little bit. It's not that popular.
Just a drop is the way right now.
Yeah.
Here's
That
the
could be
thing, like,
that could be so many things though.
If I had needle sealing here, I would definitely use it right away, because if he has Trunade, right, then the difference would be like he would switch a monster defense, draw a card, and then Trunade me, and then I would chain. Or
Okay.
he would just, if he doesn't have Trunade, then I would use it right away to deny him the draw, and then I would still have 2 back row, right? So it's fine.
Now, do you think? Interesting.
Hitting the beret is probably smart. Denies him the ability to make
There's the Trunade mirror wall. Okay, so he's gonna live this turn most likely,
deny,
unless there's a.
deny him the ability to make Despot Jet and pop the mirror wall. I think that was like the main point of it.
Right. But at the same time, if there's a Cosmic Cyclone in here, this game is over.
Yeah.
I have seen many builds play 2 Trunade, true Cosmic Cyclone. In fact, I think one player that got top 100, I can't remember who it was. I think it was Urbel, who played 3 CC and 2 Trunades in his build.
I think CC picked up a lot of popularity during the KC Cup and after. Before people were using Lance, which is still a good card, but
Yeah.
with all the counter traps in the meta, just being able to Cosmic, especially like cards that are not just reactive to yours, but let's say like Evil Eye of Selene or
Remits.
Triamids, being able to hit the field spell is just so powerful.
Yeah.
For sure.
Even in this matchup, you can hit the field spell as well, which is something that Lance cannot do. Or
and then
Trunade for that matter.
It has additional. I mean, Lance does too, but Cosmic has a good interruption potential against Black Wings.
Well, I mean, Lance is
better
temporary in that sense.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Like, you can stop them from getting one search, or maybe deny them from getting a value search, whereas Cosmic will guarantee deny them.
Right. Now he is
It's he's in a weird spot now because like obviously like even he's under mirror wall, but even without the mirror wall, like he's already committed his level 5 synchro. So if he's playing a normal extra deck, then his remaining cards are second Bure, Despot, Jet.
Oh,
Okay, he's offering his own monster.
yeah, that makes sense.
But I still don't think this goes
And
anywhere
this is
without,
turn 3, and he's at 7 cards left.
I mean, we've
Just-
seen that from Witch Crafters. This is
yeah. Okay.
maybe he has gold dust. Like I'm not even sure that's game, right? You flip the monster up. Let's assume it's Alistair. You can crash and then you attack for 14. I don't see a way that's yeah. I don't think it's game.
No, not with the mirror wall on the field, but if you can
Oh, he's
find.
popping the mirror wall. He's oh, it's lap. Still not game though.
Oh, you.
Uh,
I don't. You thought he was gonna commit to popping the mirror wall?
I think he has gold dust. Is that
Gold
game,
dust
though?
offerings.
It
What
is
does he?
game.
What does he not have at this point, right?
It is game,
Oh
yeah.
my god, dude, you've got to be kidding me! Exact lethal
Yeah.
through a
I didn't
mirror
even know
wall.
I didn't even know that's how it worked
Dude,
actually. Like I thought he would have gained the full 1400.
Dude, you remember when Furhire could do the same exact thing? They could OTK through mirror, like Amazonas
Yeah.
was like, okay, we'll just put mirror wall into our deck, and then
Mhm.
they
Well,
would
'cause,
still OTK through it. It's ridiculous.
Front Riders had the actual removal for mirror wall. Like
That's
pretty
also
much
true.
for yeah. This is the first time I've seen someone kill them through a mirror wall.
Yeah, I've never
you know?
seen this before actually. Well, like yeah, like with the mirror wall still on the field, but yo, Gaiba's giving you some shade in the chat. Some friendly banter. All right, we're going into game 4 here. 0-0 up 3-1. I wouldn't say I expected this. I think I expected more of a even start from this team's, but definitely a very strong advantage here. I believe that's a repeat. Andy just disappeared for me. Let me just make sure that they did do a repeat. Oh shit. Alright, 2 sets. A brick with a restart? No? Let me scroll up. Okay, so this is a restart brick. And he has Alistair right away. This is going to be game. Most likely here. And they did in fact use that repeat. I'm just going to get ahead of the game here and put a K to 3 and 2. Okay, going with Casitas. Might not be game this turn, but it definitely... He says no draw, 2 sets. Looking a bit manga-ass here. Double invocation. Thank you for playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. Oh, offerings is gonna actually let him live. Wait, I hung up? My Discord crashed. Oh, I don't know what happened. I think my Discord crashed. It said I was still in the call. Yeah, I'm gonna fix that, Monkey Boy. I just need to get my partner back in here. All right,
Hello?
there we go. Yeah, no wonder
Alright.
my Discord was using up so much CPU. I was like, what's going on with my Discord?
Yeah, weird.
But I mean, no comments for
People are
that game,
weird.
Andy. I mean, what can we really say there?
It's kind of sad because like I was like, oh, Taaha left, so I was like talking, and then I found out that you're not even in the call. I was trying to like normally I'm not that like talkative, so I try to like create some like conversation with myself during the game, just like say what's happening, and then nobody even heard me. Feels terrible. Dude.
Well, we do have a
um, I was saying
intermission
that
here real
I
quick.
like obviously in the Saber matchup going first is really good, but outside of the Saber matchup, for a lot of matchups, I actually kind of like going second because I feel like in addition to the fifth card, you have a lot of hands that are technically more keepable, even if they're a brick. For example, like let's say a hand like Komachi, Trunade Offerings is a hand that is not keepable going first, but it's keepable going second because like if you top deck a merchant or a cash, and it instantly becomes super playable, and it becomes like not just playable but very broken.
Definitely, definitely. I want to take some time that we have a quick second. Game Wars Fantasy League, new novel idea in the Duel Links community. Many of you guys already know what Fantasy League is, but you essentially make your team with 12 players, any 12 players across teams,
They
and
sent their
you
player in, by
earn,
the way.
huh?
They sent the player in, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Gonna
Okay,
finish.
okay.
So, exclamation mark fantasy in chat if you'd like to learn more. But we're going in to the game now, and it was what did they send in?
And they sent super.
Oh, Super
He's
Forms,
using. Yeah, I'm a little bit ahead of you. He's using
Witchcrafters.
Witchcrafters
Yeah,
into the. Yep. This
you
is
see that.
normally a very favorable matchup for
PC.
Witchcrafter just because the current version uses so many like removal cards, Night Beam, Galaxy Cyclone, Lance. This
Ooh,
makes it very difficult for a deck like. Oh, but he bricked. But I'm
he
saying it's very difficult for Element Saber to set up a defense.
right.
But when you have no play, then they can just go aggressive.
Exactly, exactly. And it's looking like Super Forms is not doing too hot here. He's top decking like crazy right now. Now, what do you think
And
about summoning that Lapulia? It probably means he has
I
another
think it's
monster.
well, he summoned the Malehu with the card in hand, and he drew the lap for turn. So he probably already has. To be honest, I might consider letting this go, just because I feel like if the other four cards in his hand are that dead, I might I like the lap might be able to. Yeah, the lap might be enough to just break him, right? Also, in
Interesting.
addition, he might have multiple back row removal. You don't know like that much about his hand, whereas he doesn't really have a lot of ways to deal with Malehu or Lap. I think I would have valued the yeah. See, he has another knife beam,
Oh
so
man, there
kind
goes
of
the
kind of
flood.
baited there. Yeah, kind of baited there.
Definitely
That's what I was
baited.
saying. Like,
But what does he have, Andy? He has nothing.
nothing, nothing.
Great bait,
But now
mate.
he
8
has.
out of 8.
What do you mean 8 out of 8?
The meme.
Oh,
Great. GR8,
oh,
E8, M8.
sorry. I don't know if you know this, but I'm kind of a boomer.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah,
Oh, it's not game.
Lance. Yeah, see, so if he had let that resolve, then this would have been game because he could have negated the lance.
Exactly. That's very true. That's very true, actually. Yeah. Imagine, dude. I mean, come on. He has to fight through this back row.
Oh, no, but it's very winnable. Like, think about it. He could. Oh, here's another one. Like,
Wow.
he's just breaking, right? Like, all he needs is to draw a Witchcrafter monster, and he can go into Veer, and Veer can protect his life.
I think we're gonna see this even up right here with the repeat coming from tier 0. Looking pretty
Yeah.
tier 5 right now with these draws. Unfortunately, can't be helped. You know, it's how this
He's playing a
game
lot
is.
of
It's a card
removal.
game.
Usually when I see them playing Lance and Night Beam, it's usually like they tech one Galaxy just to mill it. But because I'm seeing like multiple Night Beam, multiple Galaxy, multiple Lance, I probably assume like a 2 of each ratio, but it's hard to say for sure because
That's one thing I
like I
want to
think
know. Yeah, go
the
on.
one you would play the most is like I don't see a point to playing like one Lance. We've already seen 2 Night Beams, so like usually I would see like maybe like triple Night Beam, 2 Lance and a Galaxy, or like maybe like triple Lance, 2 Night Beam, 1 Galaxy, stuff something like that. Or if they're playing Galaxy, they might not play Lance. So this makes me I probably assume like 2 of each.
So we are going in with a repeat here. 3-3. Both teams have already used up one of their repeats, and we're only 6 games into the war. This is gonna be the 7th game. Andy, I know super forms did break there, but that was quite the break from E-Sabers as well. It's just that matchup wise, when both
Mm,
brick, E-Sabers kind of edges it out with just
well,
attacking and poking.
that's like kind of like a combo deck versus a control deck, right? Like
Yeah,
a combo deck, your cards individually don't do anything. You need to have like cards that work together and
right.
combo together in order to like play. So if you break, you can't do anything. Whereas a control deck, technically each of your cards are individually like pretty good. Like Malehu is still 1900. Even if you don't have Palace, if you have an Element Saber in hand, it can like do something. All the traps do something on their own. Alistair doesn't need anything, like doesn't need another card that you haven't used. Like it can just use your opponent's cards. It can use your like cards you've already used. So that's like kind of like both decks brick, but like combo decks brick harder than control decks.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. It's the, lack of better words, the genre of the deck or the category of the deck.
Mhm.
But
For sure.
didn't break this time. He opened charge with a normal summonable,
Yeah.
and a Chimera mill, which is pretty nice, with Holiday
Mm.
that he got back in hand. Now he doesn't have, you know, we don't know for sure what he, how many spells he does have in hand, but we can.
Yeah. The thing is, like, even if he had more spells, if those spells were like Lance, Night Beam, Galaxy, I probably wouldn't have. I probably would have done the same thing he did and just not, and just like kept them in my hand, right?
Right.
Uh,
You're getting Alistair right off the bat. Talk to me a little bit about Ver in this matchup. I remember when the deck first came out, a lot of people were going into Ver preemptively and negating the Alistair, but as the meta has progressed, people are more conservative with that Ver going first. What's your take on that?
um, so I think one of the things about Witchcrafters, like being a Witchcrafter player myself from the previous format, is if you commit to a Veer on your first turn, but you don't have like a follow-up play, like you don't have a Witchcrafter in the grave with Holiday in the hand, or you don't have another Witchcrafter in your hand, then if they have the out to that Veer, you can have a very hard time making it like coming back from your play. So a lot of Witchcrafter players opt instead to loop the level 3 and the level 4 in a way that gives them a constant flow of plays. They allow their opponent to resolve their monster effect, but in exchange, and they get to like consistently make a play. It works extremely well with this version of the deck in this matchup because of the Patori draw. You can draw into your back row removal. So like now he already has the Holiday and he has the Patori in the grave. So even if he outs the Veer, he can Holiday back the Patori. He can set up the same board he has right now. And if he has this, yeah, exactly. He opened back removal. He didn't discard it because he knows it's definitely going to get value. You
Void
see Void
Trap
Trap
Hole.
Hole.
Interesting. This is a card
Yeah.
that's pretty solid versus Karakuri, and that's potentially the reason why he's playing it.
So now he's gonna Show of Nightmares back the back removal. Night Beam Feather Duster.
I mean, it would have been that. It was a pretty good show of nightmares, regardless.
Um,
But this is
I mean,
so
yeah.
bad for
If he hits anything other than
Rui.
the Unveiling in that scenario, it's a because he either hits Charge, Night Beam, or Galaxy, or he hits Unveiling, which is the worst card,
Okay,
which is not that
Raiden.
bad either.
You're
That's
gonna see the Raiden.
interesting.
He did search the Raiden actually earlier, instead of the Minerva with
Okay.
charge.
Personally, I know Super is like a kind of like a fanatic of Raiden,
Uh-huh.
but usually it's not really seen in this variant of the deck.
Well, it's definitely gonna be a synchro summon coming up soon here.
Yeah, probably into
Every, yeah.
to get to out the Excitus. Yeah, Every puts on a lot of pressure. This is really good because you know that his card in hand is Alistair, and he has no battle phase. So Veer can very safely negate the Alistair just to cut him off. And then even if he has like an enemy control or something, it's not that bad because he still can't do anything. And on the next turn, Every will be able to out the Excitus.
Damn, he went through Galaxy Cyclone and 2 Night Beams. Rather, what was it?
One Night Beam,
One
one
Night-
Night Beam twice. Yeah,
Right.
that's why like
Right.
you're like some people might have seen, oh, he passed on Bator, he doesn't have spells. But I'll like if you're more you might think, okay, maybe his spells are too powerful.
Right.
Like it are so good that they're not worth discarding. So
Right.
like it might be a little bit of like people might be relaxed, like, oh, okay, he doesn't have that many spells, but he actually has a really powerful hand.
Which was exactly the case here, right? He had 2 galaxies. Sorry,
Yeah.
he had a Galaxy Cyclone, a Night Beam, a Holiday, and an Unveiling. But the Holiday
Yeah.
and Unveiling were both in the grave.
Oh, he's gonna get it. He's gonna get another back removal now as
Wow.
well. And he has the like this is gonna be full board clear because he has the Galaxy in the grave to out the Palace as well.
Oh, right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
the Decidus is gonna get off the board, banished by the Every, and then the Galaxy
Mhm.
Cyclone's gonna remove the Palace. Oh, it's a bad aim though, so that's gonna make things a little bit trickier. But it still might be.
I think this is still a game.
Oh,
'Cause he has
on this
the
turn.
masterpiece. Yeah, because he has the masterpiece as well to summon another monster, and the Genny with Holiday to summon back anything he needs.
Oh, true. Yeah. That's right. Actually, all he needs is two monsters, more
Yeah.
than what he has, right?
Well, because you know the set monster's Alistair, so pretty much like anything that can run over the Alistair, such as Avir or Edel, plus another monster that he can summon from the deck, like Katori. And then that would be game, yeah.
Right. For those just tuning in now, we have had a packed, a pretty close match, by the numbers, but by the action that we've seen, it's been going both ways. A little bit bricky near the most recent parts of the duels, but it started off 2-1, with K going 2-1, 3-2 to end it. But Superforms came in with Witchcrafters, and he hard bricked and lost the previous duels. And then he repeated, and now it is Witchcrafters versus Sabers. And as you can see, it's going to be game right here.
It's actually funny. My team, we played our war today, and we used both of our repeats on our Witchcrafters because they both. I wouldn't say. I don't think they bricked. I think it's like some unfortunate thing happened. Like I think the opponent had. There was like one game that was so funny. The opponent had only Kaliga with Alistair in the hand, so we had a Veer. He goes draw, contribute the Kaliga, take the Veer, and then summon Alistair to make some fusion for game.
Alright, so I was definitely not considering the fact that Ver could go up to 4,000 there. So all he needed was one monster.
So loaded.
Yeah.
Yeah. He actually he had game without anything.
Yeah.
My point is basically just that as a combo deck, Witchcrafter is it's more prone to losing when it bricks, or bricks with air quotes, because whereas a control deck, if it bricks, it's still summon a monster, set some back, or it might not be a very strong hand, but it could still be
Right.
Set an Alistair, get follow-up play, it's all right. In the same way, combo decks and maybe even aggro decks like Karakuri or Blackwings are more prone to disruption, because when you disrupt one card in a combo deck or an aggro deck, it probably hits multiple cards in their original line of play. Another card might become useless now, so you technically hit two cards, whereas the one-for-one value out of decks like Shiranui and Element Saber are so strong that even if you trade one card there, it might not be worth, or it might not be enough.
Yeah, definitely. Neo is going to be sending in a deck here. Throughout this week so far, Andy, we've seen some various options that teams have used sending a deck into Witchcrafters. One of the games earlier today, we saw, and I can't remember. One of the teams sent in 30-card Shiranui into Witchcrafters. I think we were talking about it earlier. What game was that?
I think it was the Pharaoh's War, right?
No, it wasn't. Pharaoh's Defusion? No, it wasn't that. Oh, it was Claw Clan into Bricks, right?
No.
No, not you
No.
yet. No. I can't
How would I
remember.
be talking to you during my war?
Oh,
That
that's
would be
true. You wouldn't
collusion.
be. You wouldn't be, right? Because you're too busy clapping 4-0. But we're going into
Um,
the next duel now.
so it looks like they did send the 30 card Shira. Just because we see 30 cards, Yusei has level augmentation, which is the more popular. Looks
Yeah.
like he bricked again.
Yikes. Well, it was a Japanese team that did it.
Yeah, I remember because I was. It
Oh
was
no,
either
it was
I think it was a
yesterday.
Japanese player.
It was yesterday. It was
Oh,
It Switcheroo versus Sun Clan.
yeah.
It
Oh,
was
okay, maybe you're
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah. Oh my, this is so over.
Mm, I'm not. Well, yeah. It depends because he's summoning from the deck, so maybe he has two. Oh, he has level dupe. Yeah, it's over. Well, maybe not. Like maybe it's Lance. He lives on
Okay, okay,
300.
fair enough. Fair enough. It could be Lance. If he lives here, he might have a way to do some stuff off the rip.
I mean, he'll probably have to like top deck charge or something.
Is level dupe level dupe is the most popular skill, right?
Um, no, I think so. The first place from KC Cup use level Og. The advantage of level Og is that it's with Squire, it's very strong turn one versus Karakuri. But other than using it with Squire on the first turn, I think it's a lot, it's inferior to level dupe or even like a balance skill or like endless trap or something like that. I think outside of the Karakuri matchup, it's not nearly as useful. But in that matchup, it makes it so that just opening a Squire and a level 4 with 0 back row could be enough to hold off a Karakuri OTK.
Now tell me this, right? Let's say that it was level log. He goes into the level 10, turn 1, and sets, a card, maybe a ton. What can Witchcrafters really do to come back from that?
A Catan is so one of the cool things about Catan is like like Witchcrafters only outs are like Lila, and if it's already faced up, they can Galaxy it from the grave. But at the same time, if you're the player using Catan, you can just banish their Galaxy Cyclone before they get an opportunity to do that. One of the problems with this matchup for Shira is that if you don't open your milling cards like Needlebug, maybe they play Dice It, I think you just get outpaced a lot by Witchcrafter because they can remove your other back row. Like you keep the Catan up, but they remove your other back row with Night Beam and Galaxy. In addition to that, they can they can have their own charge, they can have Lila, and they can just pressure you with big monsters while negating your normal summon every turn.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you agree with the idea that this matchup isn't as good as many people may make it out to be for Shira, or would you disagree with that notion?
I don't think a lot of people say this matchup is good for Shira. I think it's mainly Japanese teams that are doing it. I don't think.
So you would agree that maybe they're overrating the matchup if that's the case?
Yeah, like honestly, I've watched like the Pharaoh's War, the Pharaoh's Diffusion War. I'm watching this war right now. I really don't think, like at least like the Western teams, air quotes, are using Shira as their counter to Witchcrafter. I think before the KC Cup, a lot of people were using Karakuri. Obviously, this is the first week of Team Wars, but in other leagues, a lot of people use Karakuri as their answer. But over the course of the KC Cup, Witchcrafters have adopted Machine Angel Ritual over Enemy Controller, which is very strong versus a card like Offerings of the Doomed and Treacherous Trap Hole.
Right. And so we're gonna see Chris coming in with Karakuri, and he's gonna restart.
That's
The no
very
draw
interesting.
for him going second.
That's actually very interesting. Usually, the counter, like part of the reason that the 30 card Sheer deck became so popular in the KC Cup was because it had such a good Karakuri matchup.
Right.
Um,
Do you think it could be restart DM, or is that just?
no.
I'm trying to understand why they sent Karakuri into this, but I'm sure that they're.
I tested the Dark Magician matchup a little bit too with the Shira, and I actually feel like Shira has a much better chance. Like the 30 card version has a much better chance versus that matchup. One of the cool things is that Catan banishes itself for cost. So you can banish your fire monster to trigger that, but you can also target the navigation and force them to negate the Catan, which will allow you to use your other
Oh,
back row. So
interesting.
just because you have that, so like having the negate actually isn't that powerful if they have Catan. Um, in addition to that, like going second, they have the spell card Ghost Meets Girl,
Oh my
which is really
god.
good at playing around. Yeah,
Well,
which is really good at playing around interruption.
this
I was
is
gonna say.
100% game. Actually, no, that is a level 2. I wouldn't say it's 100%. Never mind. But it's looking like game. I do want to say one thing. I can understand actually if this is Karakuri that they send in. They're bricking like crazy. Let me just get that out of the way. Super forms with 2 bricks and now Chris with another brick. So
K brick too, with the restart into set 2 pass.
oh, you're right. Yeah, that's 4 bricks. Now I don't know if that's
4
very
bricks, 4
volatile
losses.
builds. Oh yeah, that's also true. I don't know if it's
Well,
the
I mean,
volatile
this
builds
is gonna be
or
5 though.
just bad luck, but I was gonna say I think maybe they might have a. You know how there's like 2 builds right now, that obviously one is more popular than the other, but you have this Econ Tretch build, and then you have this True Nade build. I'm thinking maybe they might be playing a triple CC Econ Tretch build, and that's the build that they send in here. That would make a lot more sense than a True Nade build, since True Nade isn't as effective versus a deck like this.
Even so, like so one thing is the CC build that uses a lot. A good amount of them use switcheroo, and we saw him restart, so we know it's not switcheroo.
Right.
The other thing is that even if you have CC to hit a Catan, the problem is that if they have multiple back row, you kind of have to preemptively do it, and you could miss. Most of the things that you CC in the deck are chainable, so that's also an issue.
Now here's another
Um,
issue. They have 1 repeat left, and they need to decide whether or not to use it
yeah,
here. I would
I
would
I
not
was
use
thinking
it,
about that too.
depending on
It
his second
depends.
deck.
It depends on the second deck, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Honestly, like
We don't know the build either, I suppose, of Karakuri.
I think learning how to use your repeats as a team, because this is team league, you can't really make decisions as like a single person.
Of
But
course.
learning as a team how your team will use repeats is very important, because you can see some wars go on and neither team uses both of the repeats or even one of them. That happens, but you can also see, especially with like new teams, or especially when the repeat rule first came out, it's like a team would just use up both their repeats and then they need it later. Like they would use both their repeats in a situation where it might not have been super advantageous to. And then later on into the war, they miss out on an opportunity where they could have repeated and had a much better chance.
Well, they are going to repeat now the
Yeah.
Karakuri into the 30 card Shiranui. Andy and I discussed just now. We aren't convinced of this matchup. However,
The second matchup must be like even worse.
well, I'm thinking maybe the decks remaining just can't handle this deck and they have to send Karakuri, and this is the best
That
version
would-
of Karakuri that they have to handle this deck.
You think they brought 4 character or 5 character?
I think it's possible, yeah. And I think this is the best Karakuri to build. I think perhaps their plan was to build 5 different Karakuri decks in various different ways. Maybe 2 share the same build, but all of them, because it's a very
But
highly
if they were
techable deck.
The problem, like, if they're bringing 5 character, you would expect them to have answers to normal character counters like Triamid, like Shiranui. These decks became meta because they have a good character matchup.
That's very true. That's very true. Although,
This looks like a much weaker opening. One of the things about the new 30 card shirt is that it doesn't use World Flame. So if you have no cards in hand, you like Needlebug actually doesn't do anything, because the only way you can trigger an effect off Needlebug on your opponent's turn is if you mill Gozuki, which requires you have a monster in the hand. His character, he doesn't have True Nade, which is a big issue. He probably has what's that card called? Catan,
right.
which could be a big issue.
Well, we are feeling some delays here. Hard to tell which side we're feeling it from, but to your point, I think we can both agree that that second deck of super forms, or rather, yeah, the second deck of super forms was most likely Karakuri, given the way the combo dynamics works with Witchcrafters. But I would say, we've only seen half of their decks.
I would not say that for sure, because like a lot of teams still use Karakuri as their counter to Witchcrafters, so Could be a mirror, and you don't know for sure, right? Like, it's too early to say. Okay, their strategy is 5 Curry.
Oh, I know,
But-
I know. I mean, this is for discussion's sake. I know, although we've only seen half their decks, I think it wouldn't be a surprise given what we saw that
Yeah.
if their strategy is the bring multiple Karakuri and then trade everything else strategy, then it would make sense that Witchcrafter would be paired with Karakuri, and they would be willing to take the mirror match.
I don't think
Into
he has
mind.
needle sealing. I think if he had needle sealing, he probably would have set a monster, right? I think some people are talking about needle sealing right now. in
Right,
the
right. I
chat.
do see that as well.
It is like he could still have it, but I think it would have been a misplay if he did.
I think one of the
I think-
popular strategies from better teams this week was, and I think going to be for tomorrow, is bringing multiple Karakuris built in various ways to overwhelm the opponent while using the pairings to trade. And with the repeat rule in effect, still in Team Wars, it makes it a very effective and safe strategy against certain teams. Scouting is a really big part of it, but when you have decks like 30 card Shiranui that really make things more variable, it's hard to do that type of strategy, and we are
I
seeing
think
that right here, if that's
on-
their strategy.
on Friday, we saw a lot of teams bringing very minimal Karakuri, and I think that's actually like it made a lot of sense because one of the problems with Karakuri is like what matchup do you send it in for, right? Like you obviously don't send it into a control matchup because that just seems like turning on True Nade. You wouldn't send it into an an aggro deck matchup because then that's just like flipping coins, right? So you're thinking about okay, well probably like a deck like Witchcrafter.
Right.
But if you think like the common version of Karakuri playing like True Nades, like that's completely dead versus Witchcrafter. Playing Cosmic, that's dead versus Witchcrafter. Or like mostly dead versus he does have Catan. That's mostly dead versus Witchcrafter. So it's like how do you really use a deck like Karakuri in this league, right? So as a result of that, a lot of teams chose not to bring it. How teams resolve this issue? One more thing is like the other problem with True Nade is that once you beat that matchup, right? Let's say you have True Nade in your deck, but you still beat that matchup. The deck they send into you probably doesn't lose to True Nade either, right? If it loses to True Nade, they probably wouldn't use it as their Karakuri counter. So it just makes True Nade a very weird card to use in Karakuri for Team Wars. But True Nade is also like probably the biggest strength of
Oh, wow.
Karakuri.
So he isn't
Okay.
playing the True Nade build as expected.
So yeah, it is treacherous. Okay, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Right. Given the circumstance, we did expect
I still don't think that Karakuri was the send for this matchup.
Well, we don't know because, like I said, they could not have anything else.
I think if they don't have anything else, that would be
Okay, think about
like
it.
a big oversight.
Yeah, well, so think about it this way, right? This is my perception of what I've seen so far, right? My perception of what I've seen so far, other than the opener, which was Neo's Karakuri, is Super Forms most likely brought Witchcrafter's Karakuri, and obviously, as you mentioned, the mirror match is something that you have to keep in mind, but the strategy, part of the strategy that they're employing here, if that's what they're doing, is that you have to concede that point. You have to take the risk. And
Mhm.
I would say that -1, if they're using that strategy, he has Triamid with Karakuri in as his combo, because when you think about it, Triamid does beat the Karakuri matchup, but it pretty much
Yeah.
loses to almost everything else, and Karakuri should cover those matchups. Maybe not
Mhm.
very favorable, but with
Why
semi
wouldn't
limits.
Why wouldn't they send Triamid? Like that doesn't make sense because
Well, I think they need to save it. It's a very high risk strategy in this case. What they're doing here is that they're employing a very high risk strategy and keeping the Triamid to make sure that they don't do the same thing to them by spamming Karakuri that Tier 0 is trying to do to Neo. And with the repeat, it worked. It's 5-5, but now we're gonna see that second.
They have no repeats.
So what do you
so-
think Shiranui's probably second deck is here?
Shiranui second deck.
Because that had to go into mine in their
Shiranui's-
strategy, right?
Shiranui is a very weird deck because, like, honestly, a lot of the decks in this meta, like Shiranui and Witchcrafter, and even Karakuri, don't have like specific hard counters. A lot of the matchups that you play, in addition to like the opening hands, can also depend a lot on like what techs you play, how well you play the matchup. It's not always skill, but like there's a lot of outside factors besides just like Dark Magician beating Element Saber, right? Or Black Wings beating Witchcrafter. So it looks like his second deck is Witchcrafter,
Right.
which
And I was just gonna say,
if yeah, if
they definitely thought about that beforehand, and that's why they sent the
yeah,
Karakuri, because they wanted to take that, you know, risk to go
that
up
risk
two
to
in
get
here.
yeah, a favorable matchup here, yeah.
And now
That's
they have
fair.
Triamid for later, which is our assumption, right? They have Triamid for later, and that'll allow them to really cover, without a repeat though, but really cover any sort of Karakuri offense from Neo. So that risk that they
Mhm.
took, although it took a repeat, they doubled down by repeating, and it's paying off here.
Mhm. I imagine this version is pretty because like even if it plays Cosmic Cyclone, I think Cosmic is pretty decent versus Witchcrafter
Oh wait, it's 21
because
cards.
oh, you're right.
Oh, it's a mirror match.
Oh, huh.
Wait, what if it's Light Sworns?
No, I don't think that deck's very popular in Japan actually. Like I think most of the people that play it are like
Using
Lori
the engine
and like
instead.
no like Lori and then fans of Lori.
Well, to some to someone's point in the chat, I don't think we're really arguing here that Karakuri is tier 0, but
No, I actually don't think Karakuri is tier 0.
no, yeah,
Even
not.
though a lot of even though like teams are bringing a lot of it, like some teams are using the strategy. I think there are definitely counters versus like in tier 0 formats when there was no counters.
Right.
I think that this is not like teams are not bringing a lot of Karakuri because Karakuri is really strong. They're bringing a lot of Karakuri because the counters to Karakuri are like not no like are not super specific. Like
Yeah, I mean, it could be
to tech,
Blackwings, it could be E-Sabers if some teams
yeah.
believe in that. It could be Triamids. It could even be
Karakuri have a lot of matchups that are not like super like most of their matchups are probably like not above 60%, I would say.
dude, what if it's Spellbooks? Oh my god, it is Light Sworns.
So
They dead ass brought Light Sworns.
That's so-
Neo
so funny.
has, we've seen Goki in the opener. So guys, the opener was Karakuri, Goki in that order, and now we have Sun here, 30 card Shera, which I wouldn't say is an unorthodox deck. It has gained some popularity this week, mostly by the Japanese teams, but we did see it winning
Oh,
the
yeah,
KC
he
Cup.
got the Melody too. That's insane.
Oh my god. Wow. I mean, he has, if was that the trap? I totally missed it if that was, but if it is a trap, yeah. So that's a trap set. He can play through the trap and maybe not win this turn, but he can definitely. Oh, he's playing Stego.
Yeah. Well, this is gonna force the trap right now.
Right. But he can.
So
can
one
go-
of the problems with Karakuri is their recovery is very weak. Pretty much the only.
Oh
he has
my
Lumina.
god. That's game.
Yeah.
He has Lumina. That's game.
hmm I mean, they don't need to think about recovery now,
For
but
those wondering of the graveyard, it's a Raiden 3, 2 recharge, 1 charge, Raiden, 11 year, and then Stego, Raiden, Lumina.
the
Wow.
that was crazy.
Wow.
The the recovery for Karakuri pretty much comes out of their Gamma Oil, but also if Merchant can be a recovery, but only if they still have a level 5. If they have all 3 in the grave, Merchant is no longer a recovery card. That's why if you lose your board going first with Karakuri doing the Gamma Oil combo, it's extremely risky.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I have seen so many people just go into that. And we saw it this war too, without really thinking about the matchup that they're going against, right?
Yeah.
And knowing that there wasn't a restart delay. If you're the player, you're going to know whether or not there's a restart delay. If you're good at the game, you will know whether or not there's a restart delay. And so
It's harder as spectators because we join the game later.
right.
But unless like you're lagging, I guess it's usually pretty easy to see
Right.
if your opponent is restarting, even if they restart quickly, because of like some of the images don't show up before the game starts.
Yeah, and I think the main thing about it is they like I'm not saying it was a misplay, right? But because I don't know this matchup, but um I do think because in this case he was dead no matter what with the econ, but definitely interesting. Definitely interesting for anyone that's just tuning in right now. You just missed Lightsworn, 21 cards, Show of Nightmares, absolutely demolish a full turn one Karakuri
And
board
that's a
with
very
one
like
trap.
that's a very ladder type deck.
Well,
Like I think
it did get top 100 in the KC by a
yeah,
Japanese player, and I think he's
in
playing
the
that
KC
same
Cup
build.
in the KC Cup ladder, you're right.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Team Wars is a similar, style in
Uh,
the sense that there's no side deck, but I
but
definitely
comparatively, like in a ladder format, you like losses are not very like heavily punished. But in Team Wars, a single loss is extremely punishable.
fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Like so that's why these type of high risk, high reward decks are usually not seen in Team Wars because of how like inconsistent they are and how like uh just like how their matchup spread are. It makes it like it could very easily just get abused right now, right? Like
Right.
it could just be a 1-1 deck. Even though it's a cool deck, it might just go 1-1. Uh, but at the same time, maybe tier 0 doesn't have a counter for it and they don't know what to use. If we're talking about like what decks you're thinking they might have, Triamid is probably not a good call considering like Triamid only has one interruption per turn.
Right.
Yeah.
And so now that we do have a few moments to spare here, I do want to talk about Fantasy League. Fantasy League is a new idea in the Duel Links community, but to those that follow sports, you know exactly what this is. The way it works in Team Wars is you choose, with minor restrictions, 12 players every single week. You add them to your team. Someone like Sun, who is 3-1 right now, would be someone you want to add to get points. And so, whether or not a player plays, you add players to your team, and if they do play and they do well, then you get points for it. And if they do poorly, then you get negative points. And person with the most points after 10 weeks, the entire Team Wars season, will win over $250. This amount is going to go up the more people subscribe and the more entrants we have. So make sure to subscribe. September right now, !September. And it's only $3.99 USD. Be sure to consider doing that and joining this very unique experience. A lot of people are having a lot of fun with it so far. But we are going to have some fun with this duel right here. Let's go get into it. Sun versus Mythyard. Mythyard, they're sending in Mythyard, and it's looking like it's going to be E-Sabers. Definitely think this is the right call. Assuming that they're still doing that Karakuri strategy. What was your opinion on this?
They're sending in. Who's this? Sorry.
Mythyard. E-Sabers into the Lightsworn.
Are you sure that was E-Saber? I think I saw a restart earlier. Oh no, maybe that's restart from the.
No.
No, he was Show of Nightmares, right?
Yeah, he showed Nightmares. He did use Show of Nightmares.
Okay.
Yikes. Not the best opening.
Yeah, I mean that's what we're talking about. Like one of the issues with.
Dude,
Lightsworn.
Yamayugi doesn't even get restart, by the way.
Oh, okay, maybe I just wasn't.
No
Looking.
worries. No worries. Didn't mean to call you out there. Just
Yeah, I was like not sure if they got it, so I also didn't want to I was like, but I know Arcana got it, but we saw it earlier, so.
So assuming that they have that Karakuri.
Well, I mean, I would assume the set card is probably enemy controller.
Right.
One of the cool things about Lightsworns as spectators is because we got to see them play out their game. We pretty much know their entire deck, right? Because they milled all the cards.
Right.
So
Well, except for
enemy
last
controller.
duel, because he won in literally turn 2.
But he milled all these cards. Like we found out he plays the freaking Stego Cyber. He plays enemy controller.
That's true.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Oh, it's Alistair's birthday. Happy birthday to Alistair in Duel Links. We're definitely so happy they added that card into the game. Very, very happy.
I was actually fine with Alistair.
Yeah, until Purgatrio.
Yeah, Purgatrio was really the card that kind of made me not like it anymore.
Then Purgatrio.
I remember when that card came out, I played so many different decks with it. Like I played the spellbook version, the control like Silent Edition Light and Dark version. But after they put in Purgatrio, it just became like very oppressive because before like Alistair didn't really have a lot of OTK potential. It was just like a constant flow of monsters, but those monsters
Wow.
could easily be stalled out. Top deck the Palace here, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
I'd-
Well, I mean, Kaliga, Casitas, and Magellanica, they all lived in harmony until Purgatrio attacked.
yeah.
And now
Only Lancia, the master of whatever, could
now
stop
now
them.
we have Ver and Shmiera. They're the new ones that can save us from Purgatrio.
But Holiday got
Both
hit.
both Purgatrio decks, actually, still,
Yeah.
fortunately speaking. But
Did Alistair really come out in September?
yeah, this was when the New World came out last year on this
Oh.
day.
I thought Dark Lords came out first. I thought
Dark
Dark Lords
Lords was October. It was the month
Oh.
before. Dark Lords were like broken for a month.
Wait, you said Dark Lords were October, but it's
Or-
September right now.
Or sorry,
Dark Lords
August.
were August.
August.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because remember they released 2 main boxes in a row.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the Ritual Beast.
Dude,
One
this
was
is.
after.
I don't even want to watch this anymore, man. This is like painful to watch.
Yeah.
Like double Malayhu, Palace, and then triple set. You don't even need Alistair to win this. It's just like
Yeah, just Malayhu them up forever. Like
He does-
Levianeer, you
he does have a-
throw it up-
he has a live Levineer.
Yeah.
He does have a live Levineer. I guess it's not over yet.
Choosing to flip down the. He doesn't have a battle phase. No, he does, right? He just summoned. the
Yeah,
Malayhu from
he
his-
top decked the Palace and then he normal
and
summoned.
then,
the-
yeah.
No. He doesn't have a battle fit. He searched that second Malayhu.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm. In that case,
So
this is a
so
pretty
so
good-
so while we do have some time, I want to ask the chat, and Andy, we can talk about it together. You know, you guys are players in this community. You guys think that Alistair to 3 is a better solution, or Purgatrio to 3 is a better solution? I want to ask the chat that, but Andy, while I do have you here with me, I want to ask your opinion on that as well. What you think would be a more long-term sustainable hit?
Alright, so I think hitting either to 3 doesn't affect the deck too much. Because at the moment, Neos doesn't use a limit 3 card. And there's other versions of Invoke that can exist that wouldn't.
Neos uses Cosmic though.
Yeah, but they don't have to. There was a entire meta where they didn't.
Okay, fair
Pretty
enough.
much before Holiday went to 1 or 3.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I would hit it. Like honestly, I think that was the problem because they made the cards so obviously powerful and so expensive that you can't hit them in a way that makes them balanced. And I don't even think there is a way to make them like we could have one Purgatrio and it would still be pretty broken. You know?
Okay, I have an idea. Now, other than the just simple conservative Perk to 3 or Alistair to 3, there is something they could do. And I don't think they will do it, but I think they should do it. Would be Invocation to 3 and then Perk to 3. I think that would be a good balance of it.
They would just play 1 Invocation and 2 Purgatrio.
Right. And so you would still be able to play Purgatrio, but it would make the deck very vulnerable to CC. And
CC and then you get OTK'd by Purgatrio.
I mean, of course, there's. I think that would be fair, though, given the high, UR card, expensive.
I think Alistair, Invocation, and Purgatrio have to go to 3. for
Okay, no,
anything
that
to
is too much. There's no way they're
happen.
doing that.
He's playing Mala.
No
So
Casitas.
there's no. Yeah.
Rather aggressive build, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't like Alistair to 3 because I think Neos is still really good that way. I guess Neos is still really good either way, but
But in a realistic way of how they will hit the decks, I just
One of them is
Obviously.
going to 3. I hope. I'm praying.
we'll see.
I
Like,
think
I don't really like
Invocation
about
needs
that before it
to be hit
happens.
though, with another. Like,
So he's clearing up space. He's not even like triggering Destiny Drill. That makes me think that his set is Alistair. He's just trying to go for a game.
well, it is Alistair.
Oh, do we know that already?
Yeah, he flipped it down.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah. He's going for double Invo play this turn. That was his goal.
Wait, how can you go for double invocation? He's clogged.
Greg is such a memer. He's like, I think there's an error on the stream graphics. Chris couldn't possibly be 1 and 2. Yeah. Now I wish Barrows and Tier 0 were in the same division so that I could see Chris versus Greg. Maybe that's a grudge match that we need to make happen. Yeah, Ali and Perk to 3 would be the best hit. I just don't think they would do it, Ricky. You know what they need to do? They need to put Dark to 2. That deck got unfairly hit. Meanwhile, we have this E-Saber deck that can play semi-limits. Still in the meta. And then Blackwing. I'm not as upset about Blackwings because they're good by, like, they're not relying on semi-limits to, like, you know, do a bunch of BS, but it's going to be tied up now. Neo's going to have the counter pick advantage, and we've only seen, actually, we haven't seen any
This war has been
Witchcrafters.
super close. This war has been super close. No, we saw Witchcrafter. We just didn't see it out of we
Neo.
saw Super Form bring it out. Yeah,
No,
we didn't see it out of Neo.
Right, that's what I was going to ask. So, Neo, I think they probably have a Witchcrafters, and they're probably going to send it in here. I think Paral plays Witchcrafters. I'm not too sure.
I have no idea.
Yeah, dude, they need a free Thunders, man. I don't know what the hell they were thinking, but Sark and Charge to 3, I can complete. Charge to 3, I mean, no one should be disputing that. In fact, I think it should have gone to 2, but I think they have a future plan with it, like with how they put Holiday to 3. Makes sense, but definitely, I think that Dark to 3 was just. I'll still be upset. Every single day I open this app, I think about that
every
hit.
single day. Taaha wakes up in the morning, and as he's drinking his cup of coffee, he's like, "Why is Dark at 3?"
Yeah, basically. Any day I think about this game, I think about Thunder Dragons.
Yeah, someday.
Anyway, 11-year effect's gonna go through, and
So
he's gonna hit the.
second, yeah, that was double econ. He's been holding the second one.
Gonna get rid of the.
This is pretty Monka-esque.
No, it is Monka S. One Lumina, and that's. Well, no, Lumina can't do. Is that floodgated? It is floodgated.
Yep, Lumina is floodgated. What if he just summons Alistair right here?
What? Wait. Oh my god, no way. Is that game? That's
if
game.
there's no like element saber in the hand, yeah.
Dude, I thought this was over. We're talking about the ban list, thinking that this duel is over, and this man has double
You're
econ.
talking about the middle. I didn't say anything.
Okay, true. I was talking about the ban list with the chat.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh my.
He didn't even need to do that. That was game anyway.
Yeah, he has to be
Wow. Wow. Guys, light sworns.
Who said this was about to be tied up? Not me. Couldn't
Oh
be
yeah.
me.
Yeah, it couldn't be you. Yeah. I wasn't paying attention, I suppose. I got ratioed there.
Rish. This is why you don't talk about the ban list before it happens, man. You look like an idiot on stream.
Great job on Sun so far, man. Guys, if you didn't
Yeah,
pick
that
Sun
guy
on
is
your fantasy
classic.
team, you're a fool. That includes me.
Yeah.
And you, Andy.
I'm not playing fantasy.
Damn. Why
I
did we
wanted
give you a Twitch
I
sub
actually, I actually wanted to, but you guys just like I didn't know when it was, and then everybody drafted their teams before I started. So I was like, yeah, I guess I'll just play. Plus, like I didn't want to. I thought it'd be too embarrassing if I was like if I drafted a team and then I was just doing terrible.
then? Why
'Cause
would
here's
that
the
be
thing, right?
embarrassing? It's
If I'm a player and I'm making a draft,
you
I
put
would not
yourself.
draft myself. No, that's what I'm saying. I would not draft myself because I don't have faith in myself.
You went 4-0. You literally tied for the most points out of anyone today.
I got lucky, man. Chill.
Okay. Down 6-8.
No,
Man goes
next-
4-0.
Next week, I'll be the first player ever to go 0-4 in 1 week.
0-4 in 1 week. Okay. Okay. Well, I do have -1 in my team. And I'm very much hoping he does well here because I am, I think, top 3 in the standings right now, and I definitely don't want that to go out of hand here. I also have I was having some not so friendly banter with Buns earlier, and he trying to say some not so nice things about my team because more than half of them had already played and less than half of his team had played. But I had twice as many points as him.
Here's the thing, right? You have a lot of points, but his players haven't played. So he could also have anything. He could even have a lot of points, you know?
That's what I'm saying. That's what he was trying to say, but he has himself on his team, so I think that's already negative points right there. So I have a pretty good advantage on that part. So I'm pretty happy about that. But I also have -1 on my team that I don't think he does.
Yeah. So it's like he has himself, and in place of that, you have -1.
Yeah, that's the thing. -1 is like the
about-
meta pick. You know, let's
Yeah.
switch screens real quick so people know what we're talking about. But -1 is like the meta pick, right? He just won, second place KC Cup, very close to first. And
careful how you say that, man.
yeah,
That's careful. That's a delicate subject, right? now.
okay. On top of that, he is probably, objectively speaking, there's always subjective elements involved, but objectively
He's definitely
speaking,
the best player of this season of Yu-Gi-Oh.
he's
Duel Links, really.
yes, and
Like,
he's
not
probably the
more
best
so,
Triomid player too,
I mean,
given what we know, objectively
Triomid
speaking.
it's doo-doo.
No, but
I'm kidding.
when you said this earlier in the game too. I know what you're saying.
It is restart Mythyard's second deck.
Hey, I called it, man. This is the strategy that they had from the
agree with
start.
It's five whatchamacallit, 5 character.
Well, I wouldn't go ahead and say 5, but I would say at
think
least
it's-
4.
I think it's 5
Yeah.
at this point.
I would say I think it's 5. I would say I'm sure it's 4.
Well, that's because that's not even a prediction. We've seen 4. Actually, no, we've seen 3.
We've seen 3
Yeah.
because super forms repeated.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He didn't want to leak the strat.
To be honest with you, the strat became super obvious when they sent Kara into the 30 card Shura. I respect the strategy. I just don't know if I respect the
Execution.
the deck pairing so far.
Yeah,
But we haven't seen more yet.
That's what I meant by execution.
Yeah.
And lore.
Well, that wouldn't be execution. That would be planning too, right? If the pairing
How
has
they
already locked
executed.
them out of sending a good deck into 30 card Shura.
Yeah. I
But
think.
look,
All right. To be fair, I think
we
this
see this-
Lightsworn deck is like this Lightsworn deck is not something you would prepare for.
Definitely not.
But I think it's definitely something you would have on your radar when you were thinking of how to
Yeah.
not get. Yeah.
Nor the Goki deck that somehow took a win. Or no, it didn't take a win. Did it? It did. It did take a win. Is he bricked?
Yeah.
Is he bricked? Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, we see things. The clear thing that we have to mention here. I think he's playing the exact same build I got top 100, by the way. But the very clear thing that we have to make to the chat here is we see things. The casters see things from a bird's eye view. We don't know all 10 decks. Tier 0 have showed us. Is the score even correct? I need to fix that. 1 sec. Sorry about that, guys. We see things we see things from a bird's eye view. And so we've only seen, I believe, 6 decks from Tier 0 so far. Or rather, no, 5 decks, because there were 2 repeats. But our best guess, to give you guys a perspective on why this might be happening, why they have so many Karakuri, is for us, our goal is to explain that perspective to you guys so you can better understand it. And so far, the strategy hasn't paid off. I think the biggest unfortunate thing that happened with Tier 0 this war, which 100% is not their fault, unless they just have a very bad build, was the double Witchcrafter brick.
Yeah.
They had to use a repeat on that, and then it bricked again when they got
Witchcrafter
counterpicked.
is also probably one of the decks that you would use versus this Lightsworn deck.
Yeah, well, at that point he wouldn't have it, right? He probably would have lost at that point. But
Yeah.
it is very unfortunate that brick happened. I know Tier 0 have bricked a decent amount in this war. That is a definite, sorry for the pop-up, but it's a definite reason for them being 7-5 instead of maybe 6-6 or a slight lead. But
Also, yeah, like once again, they're going for the full combo with the or not full combo actually. This. How did he do this? Did
he
he?
went
He
no
summoned.
he just went
He did
went
Kobashi
Nanishi.
Merchant, right?
He went Nanishi
Okay,
Merchant. Yeah.
Okay. This is alright.
I mean, he has offerings.
He's gonna lose his entire board for this though.
Man, Lightsworn. Andy, you're about to be outclassed by Sun today. I was. What happened to that
Shit.
Karakuri run, man?
Look, dude. By the time I could play, there was only 4 lives left. What do you want me to do?
Oh, okay. Yeah, you know what? It's your team's fault, dude. They should have thrown harder.
Yeah.
Wrong with them. Hey, what's up, Takumse? Thanks, man. Sharon and Kat made this layout. Shout out to Sharon and Kat Noir. Such a beautiful layout. Absolutely phenomenal.
This might be game actually, because he has the
Oh, yeah.
Bulk in the grave too.
Oh
right?
yeah, definitely. He's gonna climb here.
No, I thought he was just gonna go into something with the Levianeer.
Oh, he's
Does he-
climbing.
yeah.
He's climbing with the Levianeer. That's what I meant.
Well, I mean, like, generally climbing refers to like if you're like synchroing with synchros. Or,
Oh,
like,
oh,
something.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that actually.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Got some background music there, huh, Andy?
That's someone playing guitar. I can't really turn it down. My door's already closed and stuff.
It's all good. It's very subtle. It'll
Yeah?
put some. It'll put some. You know. Added emotion to this performance that we're seeing right now. 8-5.
I'll ask them to
Tough.
play the coffin. I'll ask them to play the coffin song.
Oh my god. Might be too early. Hey, look. If your life depends on it, and you have to pick one player, you're down 8-5. Your life depends on it. Who do you pick?
Haru.
Okay, I was gonna say. Okay, never. Well then. Wait, did Mithyard win a game? He hasn't won a game, right?
Yeah, he's about to go too.
I'm just making sure here.
Man, it's like Karakuri has such good matchups against the meta. How do we counter it? We don't bring the meta.
Big brain. We
Don't
bring
have-
Goki and
Lightsworn.
Lightsworn.
And so he has the
Shiranui.
game.
And
Does he have
Cash.
merch?
He does
he
have
has Cash.
Merchant.
Yeah. This is really good then, actually.
Yeah, he might actually be able to. Wait,
Uh,
hold
let
on. We
me
gotta
think.
check the grave. Let's take a moment to check the grave because
Because I think the combo uses 2 of the level 5. So he has
Stego
1 left.
Stego's in the grave, and the
Uh,
blow up bulb has already been used. And
Stego is like a hard counter to Gold Dust.
oh, he has no more Lumineers though, Andy. So his only
Okay.
win con here, Sun's only win con here is Econ because he has 1 Econ still remaining. He's gonna lose his board here.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely losing because Beret will put one of them into defense, so he's definitely losing his board here. Now, he's used all 3 level 5s though. So is he running a level 4? Or is he just gonna go into?
You would definitely
Nothing.
summon something just so that you can.
No, he has nothing. Andy, he's used everything.
Oh, you're right.
He
Well,
only
no,
has a
one
merchant.
more.
He has a merchant
I
in the
would've-
deck.
I would have summoned the merchant because the merchant has no targets anyways.
Okay,
You
fair
know,
enough.
yeah.
Well, Gold Dust, perhaps.
Gold Dust for what? Like you could just draw Gold Dust, right? Like why would you need to search it?
Yeah, fair enough.
I think having the extra body to jump and attack is
So
more
as
fun.
expected, we're gonna see the Stego Cyber. I actually have a
Yeah.
prismatic Stego Cyber, and so does he. So, winning.
Cool story.
Yeah, cool. A very cool story. Uh, so this isn't a
What do
full
you-
board clear. No Levineers. 2 cards left in deck.
Well, I mean, enemy controller's game, right? You just take the Steel Shogun and then you like summon, and then you can attack with the Stego, like the Shogun and the Stego.
He has Lumina. Yeah, there we go.
Oof.
Trap right here. No, he's used the trap, right? No, he hasn't. That's probably the trap. Potentially.
I mean, it's the card he drew, so it could be anything. Like it
Yeah, that's.
could
That's
be
true.
offerings. Could be. I think.
Wait, what
it's
did he
not
search
offerings,
with? What did he search with? No, it's not the card he drew. He searched. Oh, he searched the level 5.
Yeah.
All right, sorry.
Weird.
I'm falling asleep on the mic here, man.
Wouldn't
Yo,
be the first time.
there's a brain-eating microorganism in the tap water in my area. So I'm that's probably
Oh, I've heard about that, yeah.
yeah, that's probably what's
why you're
happening.
having trouble talking to.
Yeah, that's probably what's happening to me right now. I'm just losing brain cells as we speak.
Mm.
I actually didn't drink any tap water, but I did brush my teeth this
Good.
morning.
Going for every
Yeah. Oh,
setting.
conservative.
Yeah. Oh, that's not good. Maybe you just. Can you play for deck out? The problem is he has enemy controller, right?
Okay.
So you have to be able to
So
survive the enemy.
here's the thing, Andy. Here's the thing. Earlier we saw Chris playing treacherous in with a
You're
CC, and
You're
so this could be econ or Tretch,
Yeah.
if not the trap, and that would make a lot of sense. And that burrito is getting big.
Yeah. I love myself a big burrito.
Filet has some good ones.
You're right. There might be a Tretch in there, actually.
Yeah, it seems the more I think about it, the more it seems like it's a Tretch.
Yeah.
But if it was a Tretch, then that merchant on the field would have made more sense. Or do you not think that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he has the Stego Cyber, right? So, I don't think the old one's a Tretch. I think the new one could be Tretch. Because
Okay.
if the old one was Tretch, then he would have used it on the Lumina, right?
You're right. And there you are with the 150 IQ reads. I wouldn't say 200 IQ because I helped you a little
Top
bit there with the
Econ.
wow.
I think he has off. I think he might have offerings though, and he's like holding the offerings because he wants to.
You can't use it though.
Wait, why can't he use offerings? Oh, he doesn't have a monster. Oh my gosh. I think Karakuri win on deck. Well, it's not even on deck out anymore. They're just gonna win by like.
This is
Yeah.
game. Well, next turn, I suppose. If he had a way to deal with this, oh, it's a CC,
Yeah.
and he hits the dead charge. And there you go. Finally, Lightsworn's being knocked out
Eliminated.
here. 3 wins, dude. Or 2.
Yeah.
Two wins. This could have been
Good
3.
thing, good
Mythyard
thing
finally.
didn't want my record to get surpassed for this week. Gotta
Oh
get
yeah,
that,
you're still number 1.
POTW, man.
Super with a carry Kappa.
Jonesy, thank you for the sub. Exclamation mark fantasy. You can now play fantasy with everyone else.
Well,
Definitely a
if
solid
you were
experience.
going to put if you only had one deck to carry with, it would probably I would probably want it to be Karakuri. At this current point in time.
Well, good thing Neg has one, to our assumption, with Triamids.
Mythyard's still in, so.
Yeah. I'm just saying they have that second Kara deck as well.
Mm.
And they can essentially do the same thing that you did earlier today. Very
What?
similar. Okay, come on, dude. Give yourself some credit.
Maybe if it was like with a non-luckier deck. Alright. What do you think they're gonna send? I thought it's so hard to predict for Neo. They've always been this type of like, not wild card as in their placing, but wild card as in like you have no idea what their take on the meta is. They just bring what they want to bring. You
I
know,
don't.
last format they were doing 30 card Shiro. Obviously, like we didn't have Karakuri or anything, but they just brought it because it was good. They played like Dragon Ice. Remember that?
Last season, yeah, I remember that. I actually do remember that. It did well for them too. Oh, look at this icon.
Wait, what? Well, this is the
2017.
20. Is it 2017 or 2018? It's not the one I have.
I
'Cause
think
don't know
that's
this
the one Tut has.
guy. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's 2017. Peral went to Worlds in 2017.
Okay.
Wow.
So you're
A
saying
mirror.
he's washed? I mean, what?
Well, yeah, it says 2017 here, so but it is a mirror match.
Yeah. Wait, how do you know it's mirror match? Was it restart for both?
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
I thought I felt 2 restart delays. So it's Neos invoked. Oh, it isn't. 24 cards.
Yeah. 24 card Karakuri. Very legitimate.
I mean, I noticed that after the fact.
I'm just saying.
I know.
So he's doing something. So this probably means he has the double merchant combo, which is like you just open merchant with what's this card's name? The level 5 guy.
He's gonna
So
climb.
Then, yeah, climb. Perfect. Um, the cool thing that he's doing right now, which I think is correct, is that you search the cash out of your deck, so you can thin one more card before you draw with the Burrito, giving you a higher chance to draw tech compared to just drawing a random card, like a random Karakuri card, right?
Exactly. And he gets a chance here to summon another merchant to get
Yeah.
a card of his choice, whether that's
Merchant
Gamma.
Merchant is capable of searching Merchant, but he's choosing to search the cash into the Merchant to thin his deck the extra card to increase his odds of drawing text. Just
Exactly.
like a small thing.
Those are the small things that differentiate between bad players and good players.
I mean, I think maybe more relevant for Duel Links because the decks are only 20 cards.
Right.
But like the percentage, the numbers it changes is not that significant. But playing like a KC Cup style event, you're playing like 1,000 games, maybe, probably not, maybe like 600 games. Like those small numbers can matter.
For sure.
Mhm.
So he does search the Gamma Oil.
He's going for the full combo, which I think if you have something to stop a Purgatrio, it's totally safe to do this.
Right.
You probably have to set multiple back row though because you're afraid of Cosmic Cyclone in this matchup. But generally speaking, I can't. So there's some advantages to doing this board over the half board where you just search the trap. So one of the problems with doing the half board is that with the what's this called, the super heavy samurai, you pretty much have to add back the level 3 unless you already have it, because otherwise you have no way to like unclog your board on the following turn. Whereas if you do the full combo, you can add back merchant, which is like a power add, right? On the other side, if the other thing about doing this combo is that it's really oppressive. Like it punishes your opponent for opening like not super aggressive. He does have the Alistair and the Shell in hand, which makes it a lot scarier, right?
But I would imagine in this matchup, if you know that you have 0 disruption, there's no way you're gonna climb, and you're gonna search the trap instead and just sit on 7 and 5.
It depends. Like if the rest of the cards in your hand are weak, then I might do it and bank on the draw. But I don't. Realistically, I don't think like it mattered that much. I think like, having the trap would have been much more important. I imagine he has offerings, right?
Yeah, that's definitely. Yeah. Because if he didn't have offerings or any sort of disruption, I think the trap would have been ideal.
Here that he's popping before the Alistair goes back to the hand. Basically, this forces like if he has another invocation, it forces him to use with the Alistair from his hand, so he can't banish it and like have his loop for the following turn. He does have that second invocation,
Which he does.
so yeah. So now he won't be able to. He's cutting off his own Alistairs by doing this play, which is good. Good on Mythyard's part.
Yeah.
If he waited, then that Alistair would have been banished, and he would be able to continue doing his play the following turn.
Now he needs a second disruption here. Or this is looking pretty yikes.
Yeah, because he did commit to the full combo with the Gamma Oil.
Both players opened pretty broken,
Mhm.
but to the extent of how broken they opened matters whether or not he has the trap here. Now, if he does have the trap here,
If he has the trap, I feel like he would have used it on the first Alistair,
exactly,
right? Like
exactly.
you open offerings and you open the trap.
Oh,
I was thinking like maybe he had Cosmic, in which case I think he definitely misplayed. He should have Cosmic that invocation.
yeah,
Because if you're going to commit to the play that like plays around the potential of a second invocation, then you should then you don't even have to offerings. You can just Cosmic the invocation, and then then he doesn't have to then he can't even add back to Alistair, right? So
I do find it interesting that, you know, 2 invocation,
oh my god, he has problems as the last card.
that's
What did he hit
game.
with, what did he
No,
hit with the Cosmic cycle?
Ballista.
Oh my god, he missed. Actually, I don't think it matters because you Ballista the Merchant, you can't do anything anyways.
Yeah. And you have cycle.
So now we have -1, I guess, because this is game.
8 to 6, just like you, Andy. Just like you earlier today. Let's see if -1 can do some stuff. He didn't have to. You didn't have to play against Invoke though, right?
I played against Sabers.
Or
No.
Neos. I mean,
no, I
I
didn't.
don't know why I called them Invoke, but Neos.
Mm,
Just playing it safe here, I suppose.
gotta play around the sphere. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Just activate some more cards. Like, all right, so this is something that I think I did a lot in TCG, but like in Duel Links or especially in KC Cup, I won't do because you want to win faster.
Yeah.
But like in
In
TCG,
team.
you know, like if I'm already gonna win a game, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna win. I'll still play it out, even like I'll make the best board I can. I'll do it like the most optimally because if my opponent wants to lose, they can just surrender, right? Whereas like there's all these random cards. Like I'll choose to play around every single card that exists in the game as much as possible to win the game. And if they don't like that, they can just surrender. Like in Duel Links, I think like especially in like a KC Cup type environment, time is more important. So.
Well, here's another thing, right? I think Team Wars is
Oh
also an
yeah.
environment because it didn't matter here because it's very
Oh, no,
obvious what Neos is gonna mill, but you don't want to
Mhm.
show extra cards, especially when you're, you know, a team is gonna
yeah.
counterpick against you.
There's also not much reason to surrender early because by not surrendering and letting your opponent OTK you, you give your team more time to think about what deck they're going to send in. Um, it's a nice thing to have, and even if you have no way to win the game, like it's not even about like, oh, maybe your opponent misplays, right? It's literally just about you're already going to lose, but like if you play it out, you make them play it out, and you give your team more time to like decide how they want to play, like how they want to send in decks. And that could be important, especially if you're low on time.
Yeah, definitely. And now there is something I want to note, Andy. It's 8 to 6. Neo is up. We have Neos Invoke from Parao, and Neo still has a repeat, whereas -1 doesn't have that.
Okay, so it doesn't look like Neg has. Well, I mean, he's going in with Witchcrafter.
So he definitely doesn't have Pyramid in the combo.
Well, it might be Witchcrafter Triamid. Triamid is actually like an abysmal matchup into Neo, so like he would never have sent it here. Like Triamid is a deck
Do you
that's
think Trimid and Witchcrafters would be a viable combo?
yeah, like what would you use to counter Witchcrafter?
Yeah, fair enough. I mean,
Yeah, so
what do you think about 30 card Shiro versus Pyramids?
Triamid. I'm not sure. I haven't played it that much. I think it. Like, I think in the long game it favors Triamid, but sometimes the monsters for
Excuse me?
Shiranui are just really big. Oh wow, Neos Fusion. Could be Witchcrafter with Neos Fusion. Yep, it is Witchcrafter with Neos Fusion.
Oh
This
wow.
is something that like in the very early era of Witchcrafters before they were using Lightsworns, they used Neos Fusion with to send Shmieta with balance. It's not bad. I was thinking about it before, just because like it is kind of like Machine Angel Ritual specifically for Neos, but it is a starter card as well, right?
Yeah.
In this matchup, it's probably not as good, just because I think Machine Angel Ritual is like extremely good in this matchup because you can get Providenced on your Veer and then still keep it up on the field to make plays.
Exactly. Doesn't look like he opened the best though. It's likely an Alistair.
Or a shell. Probably not. If he has cards to set, he probably has cards to like discard cards, so he probably wouldn't set
Yeah.
shell.
So on back to the Pyramid Witchcrafter point. I mean, I would be very surprised if the second deck is Pyramids here.
I'm saying it's possible. Like you said it yourself. It could just be 4 character. You never know.
Yeah.
Okay, so he hits the Cosmic Cyclone, which is not good because that's
Bad hit.
Yeah.
He's running Show of Nightmares. Arcana doesn't get balance.
I didn't say it was balanced. I was saying that in the
Oh,
very
I was
beginning-
responding to chat.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember you talking about it too, Andy. The Neos Fusion idea. Right when the ban list hit, we briefly you briefly mentioned it.
Because I felt like the deck had become more passive, so enemy controller was not as good. Like a lot of the hands that you could OTK with before, you couldn't OTK with anymore. Like a lot of the cards that enemy controller comboed with were Holiday and Charge, right? To like kill your opponent really quickly, and those just both got hit. So in that sense, I didn't think Econ was the best semi-limit, and people still use it for a while once the mirror got more popular again. But you can see now that like other matchups are more prevalent. They're using Machine Angel Ritual. IC -1 using Neos Fusion, which is a starter card, right? So that's like an advantage of Neos Fusion over another semi-limit, which aren't starters.
Yeah. I also want to say, oh no.
He's not using the Show of Nightmares because this shell. But I'm saying he's not using Show of Nightmares because of he doesn't want the off chance to add back the Unveiling and being forced to discard it, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Okay, interesting. I was thinking whether or not he would be swapping out the Shmira and going into like
Victoria.
a Patori just so he can, you know, have more fodder for like the Witchcrafters. But maybe he just didn't have any spells.
Might have something to do with the delays as well. So that Alistair's off the top.
Yeah.
And it was so off the top that he didn't even switch with Shell.
So this is where he's gonna. Delay here. I say this isn't a time to switch.
Yeah.
I doubt that it's his own delay. Oh wow, did you notice that?
What? There's
He-
what?
He
Sorry, wasn't
he banished the shell from the graveyard instead of sending the one from hand to graveyard to get the switcheroo.
Yeah, he probably has a discard trap. And he wants to like Providence and he wants to use it now, maybe?
I'm thinking
I don't know.
it says a lot
Or-
about his hand.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh
also-
shit.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the second invasion coming
That
in
makes a lot of sense now. Why he banished the shell there.
that might not even be game, right? Because
Well, if it's a Providence, then it is, right?
no, because he can negate by discarding the Neos Fusion, and then the Neos Fusion can protect.
Oh, that's
the
true. Yeah, he does have 2 Neos Fusions.
Yeah.
He's gonna attack with the stronger one, obviously. Wait, he didn't go for the... Oh, never mind. Yeah. Do you think it would have just been better? I suppose he didn't want to use switcheroo, so it was better to do it this way anyway.
Mhm.
Like if you knew that, okay, I'm gonna keep the shell in hand, there's no point in me, you know, doing the other way around. He didn't want to switcheroo anyway. But I think you have a very good point about discarding the Neos Fusion here, and Negwin knew exactly.
There was no delay on that, by the way. Like no, but he let it die. I'm very confused now.
Yeah, me too. It has to do with the delays. You think it's a
Yeah.
ballista? Oh, it's a CC. If it was ballista, he wouldn't have, because we saw him playing ballista right earlier,
Yeah.
which is not a very it's not a very common card in this deck.
It actually picked up some steam later on because once WAD became more popular, because you're able to unclog yourself, and with Keeper, it can kind of be free with the special summoning back the Neos,
Right, right.
and obviously it's like free with Alistair as well,
Yeah.
and I guess Shell, kind of, not really.
Yeah, if CC does get, like, if they get a triple, right? Was it, you don't call it semi limit, right? It was like they get a 3 limit, or limit 3 on any of the cards in this deck. I would say maybe ballista might be even more popular.
So that was.
Interesting.
Okay, so he sees that he has no spells.
So in the graveyard, he has the unveiling that we saw earlier.
Oh, it's still there. Well, I mean that's because he just discarded it.
Right. So I'm saying like,
I personally know that Neg is also not really a fan of using Show of Nightmares early in the game. Whereas I'm kind of the opposite on that. I really like using it early and just getting the advantage. And then if you hit a card, like as long as you get, if you get back a Witchcrafter spell, you have a way to get it back into the grave. I'm usually willing to use it early into the game.
but you
just 'cause,
also play the
blowout
different
potential.
you also play the different version of the deck.
I mean, this was something that we disagreed on, like even like in the previous version of the deck when there was
Oh,
only
okay.
one. Yeah.
But I mean,
Just
for
get-
your version, it would make a lot more sense to do that.
Yeah, I think it's a lot on player preference. I know like Sniffus disagrees with me on that too. I think Gift is more on my side for that. It's all player preference because like doing it early is definitely a lot more aggressive because you're trying to potentially sack your way into a win early. Whereas doing it later, it's like you can potentially get a blowout card once there's less resources in the game. So
I think that was really manga-esque though. He had to banish the unveiling with the Jenny.
I mean that's all right. Like he still has Holiday at somewhere in the deck, so it's not too bad.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh my god, dude.
main problem is that he only has. Oh, it doesn't look like he has any spells.
Oh, he has Night Beam that he got
Oh, yeah,
from Show of
but he didn't
Nightmares.
use it. Okay, so yeah, like the problem is that he only has that one spell, right?
Only one.
Yeah. Like,
And
we can
he has to
assume-
let
maybe,
everything go.
maybe he drew another spell. We don't know for sure. Yeah, he has to let everything go just so that he can tank a hit. If he fuses for Purgatrio, he does have to fuse with the one on his field, so probably something that Alistair was a bit of a misplay. Or he has a Ballista.
I think you might be right there, Andy. He might have a ballista. That would be game, regardless of what.
Well, because he knows that he has the Night Beam, right?
Okay, negative
So-
1 actually drew the holiday.
No, he drew the Shmiata.
No,
Yeah,
last
no.
turn. Last turn.
Oh, last turn, yeah.
Because this was the second last
Yeah,
card.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
So as you predicted, potentially that he drew the holiday. Now he.
Yeah, so
Oh.
interesting that he missed. I'm pretty sure that's the miss, right? But he's going to send Genny here to get a second. Or maybe not, I guess. Huh. Or
Gonna
he
try-
can tag into oh, I don't know. I was gonna say maybe tag into Edel to get
He's
back
not
to-
he's not reading ballista.
Oh, okay.
That has to be the reason, right? He's just sitting on Ver with 2 spells.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, even if it is ballista, he can still tag out
Into what?
Ver.
Here's in the grave.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not ballista because he would have had game here, right?
I think it's Providence.
Yeah, makes sense. So then that Alistair summon, do you
Yeah.
think he...
Was a misplay. I
Holiday...
think he has tuner? Oh no, he's tagging. Into a second veer.
No, Veer's in the grave. Remember you told me that.
I mean, like Edel into Veer, I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Yeah, exactly right. Oh,
Oh, into Lila.
he has Minerva.
No, he already normal summon. No, he didn't normal summon, but I think he's trying to get rid of the Providence.
Okay. Ah, you're right. Oh, he does have.
Oh, I guess you're right too.
I mean, it definitely makes more sense to summon the Lila because of Providence rather than summon the Lila just for Michael, which he didn't even go into Michael, right? He went to every,
Yeah.
which makes more sense given the board state.
I might have attacked the Purgatrio with that every. I don't think you lose anything by giving him zones.
Well, the Alistair goes back to the hand that way.
Oh, okay. No, no, he doesn't have invocation. If he wanted the Alistair back in his hand, he could have just fused with the Purgatrio on the field.
Fair enough, yeah. Pretty intense duel. Everyone fishing in his deck right now. Discarding the collab. He's probably playing the waiting game here, but there's going to come a point where he needs to push in. Only 7 cards left in the deck.
I think he's fine to like. I don't think he has to play super aggressive right now.
Right.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure his opponent has multiple shells in the hand.
He's gonna get collab and holiday back.
Yeah. Maybe he doesn't. No, he does. He has 1 shell, right? At least. Probably has 2.
You know, actually, you realize how he went Neos Fusion into Jenny in the beginning of the game?
No, he sent Shmieta.
Oh, Schmidt. Okay, never mind. I was gonna ask you about that.
No, he sent Shmieta.
Yeah, you're right. I remember now. Can you guys in the chat hear the game? I want to make sure that it's at a good volume. We don't want it to be too loud, but hearing it a little bit is always nice. So his options here are only his graveyard. Gonna get the Night Beam. Makes sense. Night Beam's so good here.
Very interesting if you masterpiece your opponent's Neos Fusion.
Yeah, he just doesn't have it.
Yeah.
When I saw Masterpiece, I was actually looking at that. I was like, oh, can he get a Neos Fusion? Obviously, he
Yeah.
probably wouldn't.
Well, he already used both, so.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but like, in maybe like another game state.
Is it good now? You guys in the chat. Oh, wow. Do you think you would have used that in the draw phase, knowing that he had a Night Beam ready to use?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Like, I think if you use it right away, you just get OTK'd. But I think he's getting OTK'd either, or he's gonna die either way, right?
That's what it looks like. 2 spells. That is Lethal by 100. Really well played by -1. I think the highlight really of that, the biggest thing that confused us was him letting the Neos die.
Yeah, that's because it unclogged him.
Yeah, and exactly, and that was pretty decent because it unclogged him. And he didn't even need it, right, to hold the fort, because Ver just did it really well for him anyway.
But that's what I talked about before with the Neos having like a very abysmal Witchcrafter matchup, because your monsters have no way to deal with Veer, and now in this new version of Witchcrafters, or not new anymore, but in this version, they play so much removal that you probably don't have your back row to out it either, so it becomes a big problem.
So now we're going to see likely E-Sabers and Witchcrafters. That's a very questionable combo.
I mean, Element Saber and Neos.
Yeah. Very, very questionable combo. And, you know, the exact reasoning for that is Witchcrafters does well into
Yeah.
both.
Maybe he bricks. Oh,
Wow.
I really don't like the turn one Cassitis versus Witchcrafter. I feel like it's very weak.
Well, he's
Like,
going
I think the way
Kaliga.
I think Kaliga's also very like I don't know. Maybe he has a lot of traps, but the problem with going Kaliga turn one against Witchcrafter is that you don't have a lot of offensive pressure yourself. So even though you slow them down, your pace is also slowed down. And then it's not like Witchcrafter don't have an out to Kaliga. They can out it when like at some point in the game pretty easily. So like I think a melee with 2 back row is a lot stronger because it kind of provides that offensive pressure.
Fair point. -1 thinking pretty hard right now. 5 cards in hand.
Yeah, next one of those. He likes to take his time, like maybe think for like 40 seconds or so, and then just like bam, bam, bam. You know, it's interesting.
I think
to,
with
like,
these
watch.
types of decks, it does make a lot more sense to play that way, like a combo deck. Oh wow. Galaxy and Jenny. Not the best. Mill.
I mean, it's pretty good for Show of Nightmares. That's like
Yeah.
Show of Nightmares live immediately, and you have 2 value targets.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Grass was dead, so good he didn't. Well, not dead, but definitely not that great.
I probably wouldn't. If I got it back, I probably would just discard it as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's probably more valuable that way. Yeah.
So he's forcing him to tag out here.
I do disagree with the summon of Fattori before using charge, but
I'm thinking maybe he was looking at the delays. He did that earlier too in previous duel.
no, he's doing it to check delays. But
Yeah.
right now, because he's only locked into one, like because he can only use one monster effect per turn. His ability to play around back row with his tagging out is like limited, so it's not as
What's
it's not as
future knowledge?
reasonable. What do you mean?
Like now he has a somewhat of a sense of this other back row.
I mean, he could have just
Because
Galaxy one, and then he could have summoned the Praetorian and checked the delay on the other back row, right?
Oh yeah,
Would give him
true. Yeah, true.
an even better chance.
That's very true.
And like based on what he milled, he might have not wanted to summon the Praetorian, right? Like maybe he wanted to summon Lila or something.
Oh wow, an invocation.
So probably reading into that delay, decided not to negate, not worth
Right.
to negate something he has. That's not that great for yeah, because that means that he has no back row, so he can easily just like use Fear Effect and then like start making plays. And then he has Galaxy for the Palace as well.
It is a good point in chat that they mentioned that the Alistair was live anyway, so it would be hard to detect delays.
Yeah. But if that's the case, then why would you even like? There's like no point to summoning Praetori first, right?
Right, right. We have to ask him about that later.
Milling the Neos. So like this is what I was talking about with Kaliga, where like now it's pretty much only locking um, the Element Saber player, because the Veer can negate it whenever it wants, whereas
Yeah.
the Element Saber has to deal with it until the Veer negates it. So I think going for the turn 1 Malehu would have probably been a lot stronger,
Definitely.
because you can flip. Yeah, because you have the option to flip him down during the end phase, force him to discard.
Definitely.
Filipino rank 4 with Kaliga in a couple of days. Make Cowboy burn for 800 and then fuse for Madrilenica.
That's actually real. That's actually really true.
Yeah.
Well, you can make what? Opia too, right?
Yeah, but Utopia doesn't detach, so you won't be able to fuse.
Oh, okay.
Is it confirmed that all the effects
No,
we have?
only some.
Yeah,
Like,
only Lava Gold is confirmed halved, right? Like the other ones are like we know they'll be nerfed, but like we don't even know if it'll be halved or like maybe Cowboy only burns for 200,
right.
maybe like 50 life. No, we they're all getting like all the new ones that are coming out will do less damage than the ones that than like their actual effect, but we don't know by how much. Like they didn't say they just said that they will be reducing the amount of damage they deal.
Lots of thinking going on here. Minerva. Every's gonna be broken here.
He might go for Black Rose if he has lethal. Because he has Holiday, right?
We don't know that.
Or do we not?
No.
Oh yeah, we just know he has collaboration, right?
Hello? Wait, why is there a
What?
delay here?
He's thinking about what to synchro for and like what position to summon it in.
It's probably the position that
Yeah,
he's thinking about, yeah.
it's
But
probably everything.
yeah, it has to be every.
I don't think Michael is like that great of a make here because
I think he's deciding whether or not to destroy the Kaliga. Because
it's Michael Mills. Yeah. There's no way he's gonna attack the
the face down.
yeah.
Oh, he's going
I
into
don't think you
Whoa.
yeah, right. But in attack?
Titus.
Oh, he's boosting over it. He wants to keep him locked under the Kaliga.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I agree. I think anything 1,000 or above should get hit.
I don't really have an issue with Shadow Game. Like, I would be fine if it got nerfed. I'd be fine if it stayed the same. My issue is more so that like I think people's approach to it is kind of wrong. Like the thing about Shadow Game is that it changes the way you play, and a lot of people's response to that, instead of like thinking about how to play into Shadow Game, they're just like, "This is broken. We should nerf it." And I think that
Dude, they do that with everything.
Yeah, I think that's just like it's not a very competitive or very productive approach to I guess playing this game.
Definitely agree with you there. Alright, so we're looking at Neg 1 here with an Every and Ver on the field. He's going to be able to get a banish here. The question is whether he wants to do that.
Yeah, I think he might consider not doing it, to be honest. Like it's
Oh, he's doing
I
it.
don't know.
He's going for game.
I mean, he's going in. He probably has a Night Beam or a Galaxy then.
I would say he needs to have a Night Beam to make sure that he has game, because
I mean, what could the back row be that would make him so afraid to not? Like,
well, we've seen oh shit, it's Invocation. I was gonna say we've seen like one of text and of Karma Cut and E-Sabers, and
that's the second invocation, so he has no
Yeah.
fusion plays anymore.
I mean this is pretty much over here. I think we can,
Oh, it's for sure over.
yeah. Oh, does he have another collab? He doesn't have Jenny in the grave. Oh, he does. Am I blind? Oh, okay. Jenny was one of the first few cards. I remember now. But this is game.
Yeah, remember you asked me why he sent Jenny on the first turn?
No, that was the last duel.
Was it? No, it was against the stack, right? No, it was with Neos Fusion. You're right.
Wow, -1, 2-0 right now. My fantasy points are looking pretty good. I gotta say that. But aside from that, it is tied up now, 8-8. Very questionable combo. I mean, Witchcrafters with Neos. Sorry, Neos with Element Sabers.
Maybe
Susceptible to
they're-
Witchcrafters.
I was gonna say maybe they're thinking of sending Element Saber first, but I don't think that makes much sense either because they would still send Witchcrafter as the counter.
Right. It's something
Mhm.
that, you know, has been characteristic of Neo in the past, where they have very unorthodox decision making,
Yeah.
and it's worked for them. They got third place, tied third place, made the semifinals last season, but definitely a head scratcher to say the least. The combo choice there. Sometimes you wonder, was it just they were limited? You know, a lot of teams, you wouldn't expect that from a team of high caliber like Neo, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Now they have
I mean, every team has their own style, right?
not every style is successful, nor is every style a good style, but
If it works, it works.
fair. All right, 8-8, guys. Now that we do have some time here, let's talk a little bit about the amazing new event that Timors is hosting, Fantasy League. You got -1 on your team right now. You're gonna be happy. He's 2-0. That means he's giving you at least 2.5 fantasy points for this performance. Sorry, at least 2 points, I should say, or 1.5 points. Man, I cannot do math right now. But one thing is for certain. It's going to be a competitive event. $250+ on the line. The more people that enter, the more the prize pool increases. Your entry, your subscription basically goes into the prize pool. It's sub only, but it is definitely worth it. You get ad-free viewing on this channel. You get access to 15+ emotes. And you get access to Fantasy League. What more can you want? For $4 in the month of September only. You got 4 days for that deal. Looks like we do have
Roger.
coming in. Did I misspell his name?
No, it's Roger.
Oh,
No, it's with an E though.
yeah, I did misspell.
Ruger. I'm not gonna say
Yeah.
that anymore.
Bandit Keith, it's either restart or switcheroo.
If it's switcheroo, I feel kind of punk ass right now.
It's restart.
It's restart, yeah.
Dang, these sleeves actually look pretty fire. I'm not gonna lie. It's the blue though. Wow, he thought for at least 10 seconds there, wondering whether or not he should restart. Neg opening up with the Neos fusion, Shmiera Neos in the grave eminent.
Or Katori discarding the Shmiata from the hand.
Oh, potentially actually.
It's pretty cool for that. Like, just being a spell that's a start, like an additional starter spell, is kind of nice. Also, I didn't think about this before when I was thinking about the card, but like the battle effect to search the second Neos fusion is actually pretty relevant just like getting another spell in your hand for free.
Yeah. Definitely true. Pretty solid turn one, if I do say so myself.
It's more or less how he opened in the other game. It is carry curry.
So probably gonna search Cashier unless he already has it.
Alright, so here's where Neos Fusion is not as good, right? Because the reason why everyone stopped playing enemy controller and started playing Machine Angel Ritual is because of this matchup. Because of Offerings to the Doom, because of cash in into over. I opened the super combo.
This is the win more combo.
I mean, he's winning more,
Yeah.
so.
Or I guess the win more build. Not the combo, the win more build.
So hopefully, there's no. Looks like there is a delay. That could be kind of Wonka-esque because like if he has like offerings or chalice or something here, that could be very bad.
Definitely. So his end of the board, I'm assuming he's still playing Gamma Oil, so his end of the board is probably gonna be a beret with that's probably getting negated.
I mean, if he has like something to deal with the veer, then he'll be able to. But I don't even know if that's OTK because of like Neos's ability to tank a hit.
You think? I don't think he's playing Gold Dust then.
But why not? I've seen builds that do like one anatomy, one.
Gold Dust
Like,
and one.
They play like the three. Yeah, like they play 4-1 instead of 3.
Interesting. Interesting. I think Neg1 needs to negate here. Okay, he does negate.
Oh yeah, you always negate that.
Yeah.
That's always the spot. It also denies the draw. I actually think I probably would have gone for the draw one before making this.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think you can expect someone like -1 to misplay like that.
I mean, I just don't think there's a lot of risk. It's like, okay, fine, you don't draw 2 cards, but you draw 1. That's still pretty good, you know? Looks like he drew a blank anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered in the long run. But, wow.
Unless he has an offerings here, I think this is looking pretty bad.
If he had an offering, he would have used it before making the beret.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I'm getting tired, man.
Yeah.
Neg1's taking so long, man. My eyes are closing.
He's gotta decide how he wants to play.
Oh, this isn't even per hour, man. I'm so out of it. I apologize, guys.
This is Roger. Are you okay?
No. So tired. Alright.
So he's playing Neos in Witchcrafter as an additional potential starter card.
That was a broken show of nightmares, though. Charge into Lila, then get charged back into...
Oh, I mean, it would be better if you just added the Minerva, right? Like, milling the Minerva is not as amazing.
Well, he doesn't even have a target, does he?
No, that's why I'm saying the charge did resolve.
Right, okay.
So like, milling the Minerva was not what he wanted.
Right.
Because now the charge doesn't resolve.
He did have some pretty solid mills, though.
Yeah, for sure. I think he would have much rather have Show of Nightmares back the Galaxy Cyclone or something like that.
Or Night Beam, yeah. Well, the Night Beam was just milled, actually.
Yeah.
Neg1 is playing Neos Fusion
In
Witchcrafters.
Witchcrafters, yeah.
Which isn't the craziest thing, right? We talked about this a little bit.
Yeah. Actually, I think I talked to him about this before. Not recently, but probably like weeks ago.
Right.
Totally different meta.
Someone's asking who's playing the
Lance.
flute.
Oh, it's electric guitar. If there's a Tretch here, that might. Oh, it doesn't look like there is, based on delays. He probably lets this switch happen. Like, it doesn't seem worse in the game.
Yeah, I think what he wants to do, Neg wants to do, is prevent him from making a bigger board rather than him.
Yeah,
I think,
rather than losing what he already has.
yeah, because, like, that's definitely Rugger's plan here. Rudger's plan, like, to kind of bait the negate so that he can actually do things here. But now that
Mhm.
the negate's still available, I mean, Rudger's pretty locked out here in terms of options.
Yeah, the Neos is actually really strong right here against the Karakuris.
Yeah, it really is, actually. He doesn't have a Neos Fusion anymore, though, but
Oh,
no,
but he can discard. He can discard one with the Veer
yeah.
to get that extra layer of protection.
He doesn't have one in his hand, though.
Didn't he add one? Oh no, he got Lanced. You're right.
But still really good.
Yeah.
In general, as a...
Yeah. Hmm. So he's probably gonna have to go into Samurai here.
Yeah, he definitely needs to.
But he can negate and still get over it being at 3,000 if he has enough spells. Oh no, he has Lila in his hand, right?
Hmm.
So he only has two.
He only
has
has
two
two.
spells maximum.
Maximum, yeah.
So Samurai's all right here.
I mean, it's his only option. Oh. He has to negate now.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you negate here? If he was gonna do this, he should have switched the Neos to defense, so he could at least run something over. Actually, I guess this is all right.
End phase?
He's not attacking. I don't get why he's not attacking.
There's the Galaxy.
Yeah, he's just letting him draw into back removal.
Oh, okay. Passion.
Still, that's.
Well, yeah. I was
I
so
would-
confused what the back row was.
I think I definitely would have attacked. Like, even though you know he has the Lila, I think Lila's actually your win condition. Like, if he summons it, it would actually be a win condition, you know?
Yeah, especially considering he has a trap. Maybe he doesn't play Gold Dust.
Mm.
That's what you mean, right? Like attack into the Lila with Gold Dust?
No, you just deck him out.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay, fair enough. Well, don't you think Neg 1 knows that?
Yeah, so he wouldn't summon the Lila, but then if he's not summoning Lila, then why are you afraid of Lila? Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. Negated. Yep.
Negated.
Now he's attacking.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they're. I really disagree with how this Karakuri player is playing this. And the worst part is that he's dragging it on for so long. Because, like.
I'm pretty confused right now. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm not trying to say anything that's incorrect. I don't want to misinform the audience, but and again, just I think he's just trying to find an answer within his deck, and perhaps that answer is Econ or Tretch.
I think there's a pretty good chance the middle card is Trunade. Just by like how long he's been holding it. Like it really doesn't seem like it's doing anything.
Could also be Gamma.
Gamma? You don't think he would have used Gamma?
What would using Gamma do for him?
He could have switched, he could have gotten a monster that's big enough to run over the Veers, right? Just by switching the battle position.
Oh yeah? Yeah, he could have summoned a level 5 to do that.
I guess he might just be waiting for 2 offerings to the Doom.
Maybe he's also waiting for the... So here's what I'm thinking, right? He could also be waiting for a Ninishi. Like, notice how he's doing this in the beginning of the turn every time. He can go into Death Spot and get rid of one of the bears.
He's doing this first so that he's forcing Neg to discard every single turn so that it's harder for Neg to kill him.
I know, but I'm saying, like...
Yeah.
It's conditioning.
Yeah, conditioning. It's not smash.
It's conditioning, and now he can go into Death Spot, which that's not what he's going to do, but I was thinking that would be an option for him.
Yeah.
I'm so confused right now. This is where Neg pushes in.
Yeah. Neg's been waiting for spells.
And he has enough now.
Oh, that should be game.
Here's the Master Fist.
Oh, he's gonna Patronus everything back, right? Yeah.
Wow.
Dirty, dirty.
That's not game, is it? It's game on the second one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is game.
This is 6,000, I believe. No, 5,000.
What? Yeah.
Unless he has Galaxy in hand. He has 4 different Night Beam, the 3 Witchcrafter spells. Oh my god, he has
yeah.
new. Dude, this is 6,000. Oh, he has grass. This is game.
Oh my god. You suck at
Oh.
math. Oh.
Wait, he revealed. Why did he reveal only 5? Oh, because he used the collab. No, wait. 1. Wait, didn't he? Oh, he could. He can't add back Night Beam. I don't know what I'm saying. Whatever. It was game anyway. And tier
Add
0, guys. Tier 0 takes the lead.
Yeah.
Huh?
You're -1 on the precipice of going 4-0.
Yeah, it's following your footsteps from earlier today.
Just like in the RRQ. I mean, what?
So here's the thing, right? This is the first time that tier 0 have been in the lead since the game was 3-2.
Yeah.
they had a few bricks along the way, but -1 has literally willed them to this spot. 3-0.
And that's the thing about a good Witchcrafter player, yeah.
You know, 100% agree with that. You
If he loses this game, I'll be sad. No, I actually haven't eaten yet.
Me neither, dude. And it's almost 11 for me, so don't complain.
So it looks like this is a repeat. So all 4 repeats use this war.
Oh, it's a repeat?
Yep.
There you go. Repeat number 2 from Neo being used here.
Going first this time, that's a lot better for Witchcrafter. For Karakuri.
Right.
Because going second into this matchup, Karakuri have to open a lot more text to play through the Witchcrafter board.
Dude, imagine his second deck is Triomeds. Versus imagine it's Karakuri. How bad and how good and how bad would that be, respectively speaking?
It would actually make a lot of sense if his first deck is Witchcrafter, that his second deck would be Triomid.
Right.
Yeah. He's going for the full combo, which is like again, it depends on the rest of your hand, and
I think it makes sense in this matchup.
yeah. Like I was saying earlier, one of the things that is kind of annoying about the half combo, even though you get the trap, is that if you don't have access to the level 3 tuner, you have to add it back with the level 5, or else you clog yourself, right?
All right.
Whereas if you do the full combo, you can just add back the merchant, so you have a follow-up play that way. This way is cool too, especially in this matchup, because you're able to force veer 2 different ways, right? Like you can switch it to attack, and you could pop it with the Despot Jet.
Yeah.
He's going for this version of the combo, which is kind of weird. Because this one
He's not
clogs
playing
it.
Despot then.
Yeah, he didn't make it earlier either.
Yeah, last
think
duel when I was
maybe-
thinking he was gonna go for that.
Maybe he plays Star Eater.
Yeah. Duel Links Entertainment with 68 viewers rating. Thank you so much, Circus/Kamel
He goes charge. He mills grass and another spell. I've seen this before.
guys. Make sure to give a follow to DLE. They have some great content. Sorry, Andy. They have some great content. Lots of tournaments. Great commentary as well. I think they're testing out some XYZ stuff ahead of time, so be sure to check them out and give them some love. But back to the duel. Sorry, continue, Andy. I didn't mean to.
No, I was saying that he used charge, and he milled grass and another spell. I said, I think I know what happens next. And you can see what happened next.
Yeah, he grassed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a pretty decent mill actually. Pittori, Shmira,
Yeah, he has like
Genny. He literally has everything. Normal summoning Lila.
I think that makes a lot of sense going second. You really need to get rid of the back row so that you can kind of play through interrupts.
Oh man.
So he has the cat, which is interesting that he's. Did he targeted the other card, right? He didn't target the inn.
Yeah, he's saving the middle card.
Yeah, I think that means this middle card is like maybe like an offerings. In which case, I definitely don't think he should have said it, but that's just me.
We don't even know what semi-limits Roger is playing either, actually.
Yeah, we didn't see any.
You had a very strong point about that being a dead true nade.
Yeah.
But it also could have been a dead CC. Because we did see CC from him earlier.
Yeah.
I don't know if it really makes sense to set CC. Maybe you want to catch the bluff, right? That would be the only reason, but...
Well, no, you can also like chain it to like Holiday or something.
Yeah.
So that they
Or Neos Fusion, for that matter.
or like just like hit it, use it on a Witchcrafter spell so that they can't copy it with Genny later at a later point or add
Yeah.
it back even.
Very
You can
fair.
hit Patronus. It's not like amazing, but it's not 100% useless 100% of the time.
Right. Whereas True Nade is pretty much useless.
Yeah.
Although we know Neg is playing Lance.
So an offerings here would be really insane, to be honest.
I don't think it is though. Like you said, you wouldn't want to set it if that was the case. Oh wow, it's going to the damage step.
Damage calculation. Not even gold dust anymore. Yeah. He has the holiday too. Decided not to use it.
Interesting. Neg 1 on 6 cards left in the... Oh, never mind. It's negated. Completely forgot about that. That set card is quite mysterious. There's the anatomy. We saw this last duel as well.
Yeah. Off the top.
Yeah.
It might be what he needed, to be honest.
Yeah, this is going to be 3 draws right here.
I don't think Ned can negate this anymore. Oh, he is negating it. Having the level 5 summoned off the berets puts him in an awkward spot. Like, he's a little flogged now.
Oh.
Despot Jet.
Wow. So he is playing Despot.
Well, he might not be. Like, he might have just clogged himself to get the draw.
Yeah, he does need the draw.
So Neg's doing this now so that I'm pretty sure so he can... Oh, he's playing around Cosmic Cycling. So that he's able to Masterpiece and then tag into Veer again. In case he draws a card off the anatomy. Very smart. Giant brain. He did draw the Cosmic off the anatomy as well. So I think this is kind of proof that he's not playing Despot yet. Probably playing Star Eater or like another Karakuri Synchro. That makes this matchup a lot worse in my opinion.
He's gonna summon a rank 5 man. Bad joke.
No. I was responding to something about that.
Offerings one time? No offerings. Oh, interesting.
Let's go Neg 1 win it for us poggers.
Oh, wait, that's not game.
Big Daddy, thank you so much for the subscription. Hope you're doing well.
That's not enemy controller? Oh. I don't know about that.
Yeah, that was interesting.
He's gonna lose his other back row now too. I very much so disagree with that play.
Yeah, he loses his back row here. The trap is in the banish pile. I'm trying to see if Neg 1 has game this turn. Does he have 3 spells?
I mean, probably. Even if he doesn't, right? He has a.
This could win the game, Andy.
It's probably game actually, because if he didn't, he didn't use his masterpiece either.
Oh my god, he topped the Neos Fusion. That's game. Exact lethal. Neg 1, 4-0.
Neos Fusion winning the game.
Neos Fusion winning the game. Wow.
Alright.
Well timed by Big Daddy, that subscription.
Yeah.
And there you
Neg
go,
one.
guys. Everyone that had Neg1 on their fantasy league team
Yeah.
getting a +5 bonus.
Bonus.
If you didn't have Neg1, I feel sorry for you. You should probably really think about changing your lineup for next week. But if you haven't played yet, definitely check out Team Wars Fantasy League, !fantasy to check that out. Make your own team, get money, have fun, compete with others. But pretty good game, huh, Andy? What do you say, Andy? Okay, well, we've lost Andy. He's gonna go eat. But thank you to Andy for commentating with me this game. That's a really funny point, Sterling Thunder. Wow, what a run by Neg1. Tier 0 definitely, plagued by that double brick by Superforms earlier on in the duel, in the war with Witchcrafters, and that definitely made it hard for them to come back. They were up 3-2, and then it became Neo 7-5, and with Neg1's 4-0 run, -1 sealing the deal here. I want to interview -1. Get him on the mic here. Okay, we are going to be getting -1. For an interview. Absolutely splendid by -1, man. I can't say much more than that. Price pool is $5,000 plus dollars. All right, we do have -1 with us. Let me
Hello?
Hey Neg, what's going on?
What's good?
How you feeling, man? I mean, down 6-8, you come in, you're like, fine, let me do it. 4-0.
Big. I mean, I got 2 good decks, so I mean, still have lives. We're still in it, you know?
Yeah, I was telling Andy earlier, who was also commentating with me. He's not here anymore. He went to eat, but I told him, Andy, if you're down 6-8 and you want to pick someone other than yourself, who do you pick? And I was going to answer with -1, but he said Haru instead. How do you feel about that answer?
Well, Andy's a snake, so we don't validate his opinion. But Haru's a good player too.
Yeah, I respect the decision to say Haru. I mean, he's also a very good player, but
Yeah.
I'm not trying to, showman you up here, but objectively speaking, you do have some pretty good results as of late.
As of late.
As of late, yeah, as of the past 2 years, or 1 year, I suppose. Yeah, 2 years, right, including this year.
Yeah.
Thank you to the chat for the love. We appreciate it. For all that love you guys are saying about Team Wars and all of that. Make sure to join the Discord server. If someone can do !Discord just so the new people can join in and learn more about Team Wars, that would be helpful. But back to you, Neg. So I want to ask you something, Neg. You saw my tweet earlier.
I saw it. I didn't see the. Okay, so I read part of it. that you were predicting Karakuri would do really well. I didn't see all of it, but if there was more to it, I didn't see. But
Oh, okay, never
I
mind.
do recall Karakuri.
Well,
being
that wasn't
heavily
my point.
emphasized.
Was one of the things I mentioned in my tweet was that I think the big brain teams this week would definitely opt to use multiple Karakuri to kind of overwhelm the opponent, and then use the second deck in the combo to kind of enforce a trade deck kind of environment with the repeat rule to make sure that they can control the game. Andy and I were talking about this in the game a little bit, but we think that your strategy, and you know, you don't have to answer this, but I wanted your comment on it. We were thinking that you guys were kind of leaning towards that strategy. It looked like you guys had approximately 3 to 5 Karakuri decks this war. What, you have any comments about that?
So we tested and we were like, Karakuri is just the best deck. Like,
Oh yeah, I mean,
if you played in KC Cup, you know this already. But Karakuri is, it can streak. It's aggressive. It can just steal wins. It's just very, it's very strong in this format.
yeah, I mean, it's strong in side deck too, but I do think
Yeah.
one thing that raised our eyebrows a little bit, more so Andy, not so much me, because I was convinced at that point what your guys' strategy was. Sending Chris with Karakuri into that 30 card Shiranui, I'm not going to really ask you about the decision itself, because, you know, looking at the decks that you guys had left, it does make sense, but I want to ask your opinion about that matchup, because that 30 card Shiranui deck has not been popular until recently because of the KC Cup, and even then it's not that very popular.
Okay, so here's a hot take. The 30 card Shira deck and Trimids both suck. I have no idea how we did so well in KC Cup. I'll be honest.
Well, there you have it, folks. He says Triamid's the deck that he got 90 plus K with exclusively Triamids, and Shiranui
Almost.
Grass.
Well, mostly. Yeah, mostly
Okay.
Trimids.
Okay, well, and Shiranui Grass, the deck that got exclusively, or mostly exclusively, got first place. But I do, you didn't, you know, answer the question though. What was your opinion on the matchup though? The Kara 30 card Shiranui matchup.
I think so. People saw that it won KC Cup and they reasoned that, hey, this deck must have a good Karakuri matchup if it was to win. Because logically, you're playing a sea of Karakuri decks. So if you won, you surely have a good Karakuri matchup. I disagree. I don't think the deck counters Karakuri, or at least not to a consistent degree. I think
Okay.
it's I don't know, like we would test it and it's just so much slower. I remember testing it before KC Cup, and I think I played maybe half a dozen games, and the one game that Karakuri lost was to a rebrick. You know,
Oh wow.
like every game that Karakuri got to play, it won because it's like just set up a full board. You try to summon something, the trap negates, or they just have so much more recovery than Shira. It's like Shira has like the power cards in grass, but at that point you're better off running Witchcrafter, in my opinion at least.
Yeah, you know, definitely a very strong opinion there. I myself don't know anything about that matchup. I've never played against that 30 card Shira, that variant at least, so I really have no comments. So I was very curious to get your opinion on it. I know that you definitely would have and have tested that matchup and made an informed decision before this war. Speaking of this war, I kind of want to talk a little bit more about that. The Superform double brick. What was going through your head and your team's head when you were just like, okay, he bricked, he repeated, and then he bricked again in one duel after
Okay.
that.
Okay, so I don't know if we've come up with a name for this, but I'm pretty sure Superforms is cursed to never do well in any team event ever.
Yeah, even the Clan Wars
So I
final
know-
of last season.
Yeah, so in Clan Wars, so in finals, I think if you can check the finals to see what happened, but like during the main season, Superform, like he would run the same deck as me or like someone else on the team, and like every single time he'd be either breaking or he'd get some stupid RNG that would happen to him. And so at some point we just accepted that Superforms was taking all of the bad luck for himself.
Okay.
True in Team Wars. I know in game 1, so he opened 4 spells, 3 of which were back row hate, and we're like, okay, just draw a monster. And that we were like, just draw a monster for like 4 turns, and he didn't draw a monster. So, it happens. It's unfortunate, but
Yeah.
30 card decks happen.
No. I mean, Witchcrafter isn't the most consistent deck, but to see that happen 2 times out of 3 duels was just a bit unfortunate, because I was like, man, K put you guys in a very good position, and he played well. Whereas, I don't know if I can say, not to knock, starting is a very difficult thing, but I don't know if I can say the same about the other person he was playing against, but definitely, I was a bit disappointed to see that happen, but I'm glad you guys ended up getting the victory. Anyway, that Lightsworn deck in the middle, Monka S, huh?
Yeah. Okay. All right. So before I get to the Lightsworn deck, when Superforms faced the 30 card Shira, he opened grass. So we were memeing like, hey, maybe he doesn't OTK you and he like uses 2 Needle Bug or whatever, and then he gets OTK'd by Squire. And yeah. But okay, so moving on to the Lightsworn deck. So for those that aren't aware, the Lightsworn deck actually got 3rd place global.
Oh, really?
A meme as it might seem, like, yeah, I'm pretty sure 3rd place global used the Lightsworn deck, and he also used like a very unique build of a Witchcrafter, something that other people weren't using. So you can check it on the DLM website. I'm not gonna ask Taaha to pull it up, but
Yeah.
the Lightsworn deck, I was seeing it a ton day 3, and
I actually know the list by heart.
Yeah.
It's not a very hard list.
Yeah. I mean, I could build it blindfolded.
Yeah.
And that was actually one of the decks that made me switch to Forcing Stone, just because it would mill their entire deck and then they drop Legionnaire and then you cry, and yeah. So near the end, I was afraid that we were just gonna get swept by the Lightsworn deck and we were just gonna struggle,
Well, yeah, with the strategy you guys brought, I know you haven't confirmed or denied my point about it, which is fine. I won't expect you to say much about it, but from our bird's eye view as a commentator and the chat, from that perspective, it did look really manga-ass for you guys, but luckily Mythyard was able to clutch it out and get that deck out of the way.
Yeah.
So another thing I want to ask you, I expect you to be on the talk show on Tuesday. Wink, wink to everyone in the chat. Make sure you join in and listen on that. But I expect you to be there on Tuesday, hopefully. And so I'll ask you more about your match, your next week's match versus FM then. But this past Tuesday, we did talk a little bit, and I asked about your team and how you guys struggled last season. You guys are off to a very strong start here, beating the semi-finalists of Season 7. How are you guys feeling right now, confidence level-wise, beating Neo and now going into Week 2 with a win?
I'd say we're pretty happy. I mean, You can never be sad about a loss or sad about a win. Sorry.
Definitely true. I guess that's it for me. If anyone in the chat, I'll hold -1 for just 30 seconds. But if anyone in the chat has any questions for Neg1, be sure to post it real quick for me. But otherwise, Neg1, I mean, I just want to say, fantastic performance, man. Down 6 and 8, going 4 and 0. Just good job, man. Playing under pressure. Very unique list too, using the Neos. I know it was gaining some popularity slightly when the deck got hit, but kind of fell off. That idea fell off.
Yeah. All right. I see some questions from my team. I'm gonna ignore them to save
Okay.
everyone else.
Well,
But,
there is one legitimate question. We'll take one question only for time's sake, because I do want to eat my dinner. He says, "What's your thoughts on the new XYZ meta?"
I don't know if it's gonna be meta, so controversial opinion. I think Satellar Knight, they look nice, but in practice, I think the most relevant thing out of all of this might be DD Crow. Okay, so here's the 3 cards I think are gonna be relevant from the new set. Others, probably not. DD Crow, the Bujin Tsukiyomi, it draws 2 cards, and Gagaga Cowboy. All the others I don't think are gonna be that amazing.
Okay,
Or
so
it's like
he
not that special.
he specifically asked XYZ meta, but what I want to ask instead of him is just that new box. We got DD Crow. What I want to ask you about DD Crow, we already know the effect that it's going to bring to tournaments. What I want to ask, do you think people will start main decking it in Team Wars?
I mean, I could see it. It just depends on how the meta goes. If there's a point when graveyard effects are that relevant, then yes, DD Crow will.
Like Lancia.
Yeah, like Lancia's just shuts down for a turn, and then DD Crow probably shuts down for a turn some other deck that we either don't have right now or, maybe relevant later. I don't think it's super impactful right now to say.
Well, if Bujins do become good, it might be pretty interesting in that, or with that in the meta. Not that Bujins would play it, I mean like against it. But we'll talk some more later, maybe. We'll see what happens. But anyway, thanks for being on this interview, Neg1. Again, really good job. Hopefully, you can keep this up and get your team to the playoffs this season. Very talented team. Just unfortunate how things went down last season.
Yeah. I hope like the team can carry me. And before we go, answer the question in the chat. Favorite pizza topping? Okay, so the basic answer is pepperoni, but like the non-basic answer is like bell peppers. I think bell peppers are pretty nice.
Bell peppers?
Yeah.
I like banana pepper. What do you think about that?
Those are okay too.
Okay, I respect it. I like bell peppers too. I like bell peppers with grilled chicken though. Have you ever had that?
Grilled chicken.
Or just like chicken. Doesn't have to be grilled.
I think
Pineapple on pizza
I can
or
see
no?
that being good. Okay, so pineapple is a thing that I will eat because like I don't mind it because it's like it's fruit and it's like sweet. So I mean I like it.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna ask for it, you know?
Okay.
So it's one of those. So it's a secret tech. If you it's like it's the same thing if you like coconut flavored something. Like if you order that, you can guarantee that nobody else is gonna take it from you, but you're still gonna like it.
Okay. I respect that. Actually, I can. You said you. If you said yes, I will take it without question. I might start taking your Duel Links opinions less seriously, to be honest, with these hot
Like it's a
takes.
strat, you know?
Oh yeah, it is a strat.
Because you wouldn't normally. I mean, I wouldn't ask for it on a pizza. However, if I expect some moochers in the area, in the general vicinity of when I'm having this pizza, you know, maybe having some deterrent from those moochers would be a good idea. Feel me?
Anyway, thanks again, Neg. We're gonna be rating someone. Guys, be sure to tell them, this person, if they don't know already, all about Team Wars. And to everyone else, thank you for watching me. Follow me on Twitter, Taaha DL. I'll have weekly Team Wars analysis and breakdowns if you're interested in that stuff. But that's it for me. Thank you so much, Neg1, for this interview, and congrats again on that win.
Yeah, thanks.
Talk to you later, everyone.
All right.